Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Monday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. A little bit of Shelley time coming your way at 9:45. Must-winish probably for the Jackets based on the way the last week or so has gone. We'll get you set for that one coming up at 9:45. 10 o'clock, we have to move that up. So we'll blitz the weekend at 10 o'clock. Austin will join at 10:30. He will join from Ohio State, where the reason we are moving Weekend Blitz up is because at 11 o'clock, Ryan Day will have his first post-practice press conference of spring football. That's right, kids. We're underway. Football is here. Lots to pay attention to on that side of things. Which quarterback took the first snaps? I'm always interested in jersey number switches. Who got priority on jerseys? What freshmen got the numbers they wanted? Those type of things. You can kind of tell like what the staff thinks of a player based on the number that they receive. So we'll have some fun with that as the program goes along as well. It's a St. Patrick's Day Monday edition of the program. Was St. Patrick's Day something important for either of you growing up?
Not till I was of drinking age.
That helps.
And I think that's the same. When you become of legal drinking age, it's a little more important to you. Unfortunately, I'm usually working on St. Patrick's Day now or around those weekends, so it's really not that big of a deal anymore.
Who am I kidding? Maybe even before I was of legal drinking age.
Yeah, I mean, we went to school in Athens, so... Yeah, I'm guessing that it wasn't too highly policed. God bless the folks down there. It was a big deal in one town in Montana called Butte. It's a really big deal there. And it was kind of like the rest of the state would try to go to Butte for St. Patrick's Day. Obviously, Chicago, it's a big deal. When you paint the river green, that's a very big deal. Up in Cleveland, it's a pretty big deal with the parade and stuff. I've never taken part in any of it. I didn't go to Butte when I was growing up in Montana. I've not been to Cleveland St. Patrick's Day parade or any of those things that happen there. I've not been to Chicago. I think by and large, and I'm not Irish in any way, but I think outside of Guinness, which I'll enjoy a Guinness from time to time, there's nothing really from the Irish culinary scene that I find myself craving. There's nothing out there that I got to seek out. They do a pretty good job with whiskey. Bushmills, very, very solid. Redbreast, very solid as well. A lot of people like a Jameson's this time of year. Just be careful, keep a little water mixed in there the best you can over the course of the day if you're out there celebrating and enjoying yourselves. I do not have one piece of art. I have one piece of clothing that would be considered, like, I call it Kelly green or that bright green. I have one thing. I only have one piece of clothing that's green, period. I'm sure you have a lot, Reese, with your Ohio roots. The only thing I got, Three sent me a hoodie when he was at Notre Dame. So I have like a Notre Dame football hoodie, but I thought that wouldn't be the thing to wear here. So I didn't, but that's the only thing that I have. I was looking. I don't have a T-shirt. I used to have an Homage. One of their first shirts that I really loved was it just said the Hick from French Lick, and it was like a bright green. But I think I gave that to my Uncle Tom. I do not have. I have one. I have the one hoodie. That's all I've got. That's the true Kelly green. That's it.
I've got obviously a ton of OU stuff, and that's the green. Although I've got to do some fan digital content stuff after the show, so I wore no green on the St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
Bad job.
You got any Kelly green?
I have no Kelly green. Bad job out of me, though. I do have, on Jackets game days, I like to wear Jackets shirts.
Sure.
And I do have a Jackets shirt that's black, but the Blue Jackets in the circle is kind of like an army green. Bad job out of me of not preparing and having that ready for today. And I've kind of got like an olive green, army green colored pair of shorts that I wear with that. So definitely bad job out of me. But I don't like the color green, to be honestly. Sorry, Reese. But
obviously, I don't. I must not either, as I have no article of clothing that are that color. I do like that bright green, like even the green that Oregon, like their traditional green. I do like that color. I think that's a cool shade of green. But I just don't. Obviously, I don't like it either. I tell you what else I don't like. I don't like what's happened to the Big Ten in men's college basketball. I don't like it at all. And I do wonder if what has happened over the last couple of years in the NCAA tournament, and most especially what has happened in the Southeastern Conference over the last half decade or so, will serve as kind of like a notice for this league that it needs to take its men's basketball seriously. It's long past time to do so. I'll never forget when Big Ten football decided to take itself seriously in the modern era. It was when Urban was hired here. And he came on with Rothman and I, and we talked about recruiting. They had a top 2 or 3 class in the country his first year. That was the Noah Spence year, and he came on with us. And I asked him, I said, did you notice? And I want to say you could probably pull up those recruiting rankings that first year. So that would have been in February of 12, because they didn't have the early signing period. But I want to say there was only one other Big Ten team that was in the top 25 in recruiting, period. Conversely, there were like 14 SEC teams in the top 25 in recruiting, or at least 10. And I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, this league's got to get better at recruiting. And then Brett Bielema and everybody over in Chicago, they had like a coaches seminar over there, took great umbrage with it. How dare he come into this league and tell us how to do our business? Well, he was right. He was right. And it set off a chain of events because of the way that Urban handled his business here, the way that he paid his staff, what he demanded out of facilities, what he demand. I mean, they remade the Woody, as they put lipstick on it the best they could right away. They were all about painting it, video boards, signage, all of it. Like, they got right on it. I remember Pantone calling us at Channel 10, and he was like, you guys have like some historic video. And he sent Fabian, who I think he ended up at Texas. I want to say he ended up at Texas. He came over and they got a bunch of video, and they started using it all over the facility. And it was like, we've got to up the ante. And guess what? The rest of the league did too. Then the rest of the league started to follow. And, oh, okay, this is what it takes. And Illinois got new facilities, and Nebraska got new facilities. And you started to pay coaches. You started to pay their staffs. What we've seen over the last half decade or so in the league on the football side of things is, quite honestly, a very serious approach to football. I mean, you got the last 2 national champions have come out of this league. Penn State's knocking on a door. You've added Oregon, who was the number 1 team in the country for much of the year. So in football, we're doing our part. But we're not doing our part in basketball. The last Big Ten national champion, guys, is still Michigan State. I mean, think about that. That's the Flintstones. Mateen Cleaves. He's got to be approaching 50.
In order to save face, can we claim Maryland?
No.
Okay.
No, we can't. You want to claim their title with Juan Dixon?
I guess not.
When they won the ACC.
Was the ACC claiming Syracuse?
I don't care what they claim. You don't get that. That was like when they put out the Big Ten champion, like individual player trophies. It was like the Osborne Coach of the Year. Tom Osborne never coached in the Big Ten. Stop it. I think Mateen. I'm curious. How old is Mateen Cleaves? Mateen Cleaves is 47 years old. It was his senior year, folks. That's 25 years, give or take, since the Big Ten has won a national championship in basketball. And there's nobody from the Big Ten who's going to win a national championship this year. They're not. They got 8 teams in. The SEC got 14. 14 teams into the league. This league has got to start taking hoops seriously. They have to. They got to figure out that the things that matter most, football, obviously, but men's and women's basketball file right underneath that. And it's not just making sure you go get great coaches and you pay them. You think about, Michigan did a pretty damn good job with Dusty May. He was out there. He was the number 1 guy on the list. They went and got him. He brought in a new roster. I want to say there was only 1 kid from Michigan on that roster, the Michigan team that won the Big Ten tournament over the weekend. I think there's only 1 Michigan kid on the roster because this is college basketball in 2025. It's turn over your roster, be competitive quickly, get it done. So you have to, when Indiana hires their new coach, he needs to be a dude. And then underneath that, there needs to be an NIL buy-in from the schools in this league to go contend with the only peer that we have in the country, and that is the SEC. Because they're doing it. They got 14 teams in the dance. 14 of them. I mean, you start to do your bracket, you're like SEC in round 2. Because they got so many damn teams in. And it's not just they got so many teams in, they have national championship contenders. 4 or 5 of them that you could say, yeah, I could see that. I could see Tennessee. I could see Auburn. I could see Alabama with Mark Sears, for sure. Florida, yeah, I could see that. Could I see Kentucky making a run to the Elite Eight? Yeah, I could probably see that. Conversely, what Big Ten team did you scratch all the way out as you're doing your bracket? Which one? Michigan State-ish?
I think
there's no path up for these Big Ten teams. They're just not serious teams.
Yeah, I think the Michigan State's the one that I believe in the most, but is that more off a past track record than anything? I don't know.
Probably. It probably is. And at the center of this, because I think probably if you do like the last great, like loaded, non-fluky Big Ten team to play for a title, Purdue certainly would have been that with Zach Edey last year. They certainly applied to where college basketball was, and they played for a national title. But it's really golden era Thad. That's the last time that the Big Ten had like number 1 teams in the country a lot. Was Connolly, Oden, and then Sullinger, his 2 years. That's when you had real bites, and you'd look at it and say, yeah, those teams could win national titles. But that's a long time ago, kids. It's a very long time ago. Much more on this, including where this the Buckeye team goes from here. I think it's a hell of a thing to try to figure out if you even play in a postseason tournament, if you have a roster to do so. There were also a little bit of drama when it came to who got in at the end of the big dance, including North Carolina. We will get into that as well. Some early impressions of the bracket. Pretty loaded up here. Of course, Ryan Day going to be on live at 11 o'clock, post-practice scrimmage talk. Look forward to that. That's coming up around 11 o'clock. We're off and running on a Monday. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Every great team needs a playmaker, a secret weapon, an MVP, like Caster Connection. Our industrial casters and wheels give your business the ultimate assist, improving mobility, efficiency, and safety. Whether you're moving carts, racks, or heavy equipment, we set you up for the win. Don't get benched by bad wheels. Go to casterconnection.com to shop online or to work with our industry-leading caster solution specialists. Caster Connection keeps your business in motion.
He opens his toolbox before he opens his wallet and believes you can fix anything with 20 minutes and some pride. He's Mr. DIY, and when he needs metal, he goes to metal supermarkets. Artists, hobbyists, machine shops, maintenance professionals, and welders all count on metal supermarkets for over 8,000 metal products, shapes, and grades. If it's metal, they've got it or can get it for you. Cut to any size and ready fast. Visit the family-owned franchise on North Wilson Road or Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com.
Basketball from noon to midnight. Scotty Vegas here, and we're throwing a Vegas-style basketball party at Hollywood Casino at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. I even went out to Vegas to scout out how to throw this party. Tough assignment. The Fan is doing 24 hours of watch parties. The opening weekend of the tournament, there'll be custom T-shirts, Pop-A-Shot, Horse games. Oh, and don't miss a game with a 50-foot video wall. Reserve your spot at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Wilson, people are officially going crazy over our sleek, black-framed windows. They change the entire look of a home.
Leslie, nobody believes that just black frames can change the look of a home.
It's like when Superman put on his black-framed glasses and became Clark Kent.
Wait a second. Clark Kent is Superman? Are you messing with me right now?
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Most radio stations suck. Here's why. They don't invest in local programming. We're live and local 14 hours a day. You can rest assured that every stupid thing we say is 100% local. Homegrown dumb since day one. The Fan.
Do you want a job that is flexible, secure, and fun? It also offers excellent pay and is ranked as one of the best jobs in America, too. I'm talking about being a dental hygienist. And all you have to do is complete a 2-year program after high school. Visit ODA.org to learn more and to start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Hi, the Scott Antique Markets are back again at the Ohio Expo Center, featuring hundreds of vendors with collectibles and merchandise from all over the world. The market is one weekend monthly, November through March. Build your family heirlooms. You can find everything that gets old. Just take I-71 to exit 111 to enjoy America's favorite treasure hunt. Visit thescottantiquemarket.com for more information. Come join us at the Ohio Expo Center for the Scott Antique Markets. It's huge. It's the Scott Antique Markets this weekend.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It'll be much colder out there today, as well as more sunshine. Heading into this morning, we do have the clouds, but once we get past lunchtime, I do expect the sunshine to come back out. Today's high will be around 49. Tomorrow, though, expect a mostly sunny day with a high of 68. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
And the brackets are set. Now it's your turn to make your picks. Join the Fan and 10 TV Bracket Challenge. Compete against your favorite Fan and 10 TV personalities. And the best part, the top bracket wins $1,000. But hurry, the deadline is Thursday at noon. Head over to 971thefan.com to enter now. The Fan and 10 TV Bracket Challenge is sponsored by Mountain Dew, Ohio Bottled, and Buckeye Bold. I always do it right away. I fill out a bracket right away. As soon as it's done, we had dinner. We had, God almighty, we had lacrosse all day, and then Beamsy had AAU basketball in the afternoon, so we got home a little bit before 6 and grilled up some steaks and watched the selection show, which I've done. It's one of my favorite things. There's something about, we love a bracket in this country. I don't know if the NCAA invented it. Maybe it's like the one thing on their legacy. Reese, I think we looked into this once last year because I was trying to give them credit for something positive if they actually did it. But there is something about seeing a roadmap for a team and the matchup. And then if you win this, you get this. And if you win this, you win this. And I don't follow college basketball the way that I did 15 years ago. It's just, I don't have the mental space for it to cover it the way that to follow it the way that it has to. It's a sport that really matters most right now. It's such an interesting thing in that for much of the year, most of the country pays very little attention to it. We do around here. You're following your Buckeyes and you're keeping an eye on it from the perspective of keeping an eye on where they are in the national picture. But in terms of like watching games, it's really until right now. And then everybody buys in as big as possible because we love a bracket. This country, we love it. We love to see how the matchups could play out. So I fill one out right away as soon as it was unveiled. The kids fill one out. We have like a family pool we do. Then we have a friend pool that we do. I ended up with Duke winning it. It just feels like, to me, the idea of Cooper Flagg having kind of the dotting the I's and crossing the T on one of the great freshman seasons of all time. Feels to me like it's right there for them. They won the ACC tournament without him over the weekend, but it sounds like he's going to be back by Friday. So I fill one out right away and see how it all shakes out. Do you guys fill one out right away? Have you done yours yet?
No, I'll do it tonight.
Yeah, I have not done one yet either. I just looked at it and got a couple invites for some. And so, yeah, that's probably something that I'll do. I don't know if I'll get it done today, probably tomorrow.
Are you doing multiple, either of you?
No, I fill out the same result on all of them. Like I don't flood the market.
Do we want to do a show bracket for the aforementioned Fan 10 TV Big 10 or Fan 10 TV bracket challenge?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that for sure. Yeah,
the way we've picked it in the past is we divide the 4 regions up based on different criteria.
Yeah, that's
City
right.
we'd want to live, colors, mascots, who would win in a fight.
That's right, we did. I remember the one year we were in the mix.
It's done better historically. Our Dopey Fun bracket has done better than the I'm going to try to pick this seriously, which is my reminder to have a fun way to pick these brackets. Because especially this year, watching the selection show yesterday, it even felt like the guys on CBS, like the Clark Kellogg's and the Jay Wrights, had no real idea what was going to happen with this field.
Well, this is what happened to the sport. And like when I said that about how, I don't follow it as closely. I mean, this is a little bit of a get off my lawn, but college basketball was better when I was younger, when we were all younger, because you had guys who played 3 years. It's always a pretty good reminder. Shaquille O'Neal, folks, played 3 years at LSU. Like, he wasn't a one and done. He played 3 years. So, like, you knew who these guys were and who these teams were, and they were, in many instances, grown men. I mean, it was a lot of 21, 22-year-olds. Now, we're getting back to that a little bit because of NIL, and you're seeing guys stick around. Like, can you imagine what Mark Sears has made playing point guard at Alabama?
Like 10 years there. Yeah.
I know. He was unbelievable here as a freshman at Ohio, and Jeff Bowles found him and unearthed him, but then, of course, he was going to go home, and he did. And he's been unbelievable at Alabama since he's been there.
There's scuttlebutt about
he's made.
Cooper Flagg. Like, don't go get picked by any of those teams with the lottery. Like, don't go doing that. Make more money staying at Duke.
Yeah, I mean, he could play another year. He should be a high school senior anyway. He reclassed, so he could be a high school senior. And he could probably make $10 million at Duke playing for them and like going to school and being a kid. He could probably do that if he wanted to. My hunch is New Balance, who his shoe deals with, is probably not crazy about him playing another season in Nikes. So that probably will push him to the league, would be my guess. But yeah, no, I mean, you can do it now a little bit. Obviously, no rooting interest here locally in terms of the Buckeyes missing the NCAA tournament for a third year in a row. It's the first time in 20 years that Ohio State has missed 3 straight NCAA tournaments. As soon as you lose to Iowa, you're done. So I'm not. You don't get to complain about North Carolina when you lose to Iowa. So just stop it. And I don't think people are. I think most people here are pretty locked in on this is what is deserved, because you lose 5 of your last 7. All you do is win one. Win one of those, and you would have had it sorted out. So I do think that is interesting. Now, you've talked about this. You brought this to my attention, Reese, this college basketball crown that Ohio State is apparently able to play in. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how they fill the field for that.
Oh, they've already run into some issues in the last 24 hours. Like Rutgers came out on Sunday and said, we're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And they're a Big Ten team. Like, there's scuttlebutt about Ohio State and its desire, or lack thereof, of doing the Vegas tournament, because it's still unknown. Like, I was trying to figure this out for the Saturday Spectacular, what exactly the NIL compensation was going to be for some of these teams. And I had to go to like a Rutgers message board before anybody put it like explicitly, here's what they're going to be doing. And even that was like, yeah, they're going to have NIL deals for some teams, but not all. And I'm like, well, then where's the incentive? If it's like a giant shrug emoji, why would anybody want to send their teams out for this?
Well, there's so if they're not financially incentivizing these teams to play, and then the other thing is the portal's open. So
portal's open for Iowa.
Yeah, it's open already for them, and it's going to be open for a bunch of other schools too. So, like, how do you even – if Jake Diebler wanted to play in this thing, and my guess is he probably does. I don't know, haven't asked, but my guess is he probably does. More basketball, young team, blah, 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 fill in the blank. But at the same time, like, Does he have 8 guys? Who's on the roster? Who's filling that up? That's the issue. It's like, and that's a real problem. And that's not just an Ohio State problem. To your point, when you told me in the break Rutgers wasn't playing this thing, I'm like, well, no, their 2 best players are going to go in the top 5 of the NBA draft, which is probably a pretty good little example of when you go all in just with the kids. What did that net Rutgers?
15 wins.
They had the most talented team in terms of NBA talent that they've had maybe ever in the history of that program, and they didn't make the dance. You have to blend when you're building a roster now, and this is what Jake's going to have to figure out. You have to blend veterans. You have to blend veterans that you develop with impact portal players, and then you got to go and get a couple of guys that just love it, that bleed your school. That's kind of the mix of trying to do this. It's a very, very difficult needle to thread. Be remiss if we did not mention that the Ohio State women will be playing at home. That is this Friday at the Shot at 5 o'clock. They will be doing so against Montana State. And you can imagine that was a pretty wild thing to see pop up on my screen. The idea that those 2 teams are going to be playing on Friday. Oddly enough, so that game will be taking place here, obviously. I will be in Southern California at that time, so I would not be able to attend. But if I were, that would have been one I would have gone to see that. And Montana is such a small state when it comes to the sport that I immediately pulled up the roster. I'm like, I wonder how many of these girls do I know? Like, do I know their dads or their moms? Like, the basketball community is so small. I did know a couple of women who played on the University of Montana team, but not on Montana State. So they get the 4 seed, the Buckeyes do. They get the winner of Tennessee, Florida in the South Florida rather in the second round at the Shot. So that's where that stands on that front. But that'll be fun.
You're going to be in California Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
You're going to get Pacific time March Madness.
Oh, buddy, I remember last year. Well, you probably don't. Last year for the first round of the tournament, we were in Hawaii. So we are driving to the
mid-morning madness.
Yeah. We were driving to the resort, and as NBC loves Kentucky, as Kentucky was getting bounced by the team out of Michigan.
That.
So he's crying. We're in Hawaii. We're in Hawaii in the car going to the resort, and he's crying because Kentucky had lost. And yes, it is. So yes, March Madness Pacific Coast time going to be pretty great. That's like a 9 o'clock tip, a.m. tip. That's money. Hawaii's even crazier. I want to say it was 6 hours. I want to say they tipped at like 6:15 in the morning. And when you're still on like your time and you turn so you're up at 4:30 in the morning because you to you that's 10:30. Like how late am I supposed to sleep in here? So you turn on the TV at 6 o'clock in the morning and you got March Madness. It's pretty wild. And then the whole thing's done by like 6 o'clock in the evening. Like the late games that Dom's on Channel 10, like 1 o'clock in the morning starting the news. It's like
sounds
6 o'clock.
Amazing.
It's crazy. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So yeah, I will be able to take it in. The boys will be locked in. It'll just be all in the morning is the way it's going to go. All right, spring football is here. We see images, we see videos, we see Julian Sayin thrown to Lincoln Keenholz with Tavian St. Clair in the background. We'll get into all of it in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league. It's sharp and it's electric. How is it sharp? How is it electric? Good questions. Try this on for size. 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime, forcing, playoffs on the line, golf. With 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour. Split into 6 teams. Atlanta, Boston, Jupiter, LA, New York, and the Bay. This isn't your average Sunday pickup game. Tune in every week for TGL matches, only on ESPN. Keep up. It's golf.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. You know, as much as I enjoy being a professional inventor, a few of my dream inventions still elude me.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, the bruiseless avocado.
Ooh.
The unlosable TV remote.
Could change the world.
And for you, Aaron, the uncloggable drain.
Get Eco.
Until you crack it, Jerry. You know our 93 are free drain clearing offer is the next best thing.
Okay. Explain yourself.
Get Eco.
Our drain team will clear your drain for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it'll stay clear for at least a year, or we will clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
We'll even send our little robot camera down there to make sure you don't have a larger problem that could cause more trouble in the future.
Get Eco.
You think your guys could bring that robot over to my place and help me find that TV remote?
I think that's impossible even for us.
Get Eco.
Eco, plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
Here's what's up on a St. Patrick's Day Monday edition of the program. Spring football has sprung. Buckeyes practicing this morning, 11 o'clock here on the program. You're going to hear Ryan Day with his post-practice press conference, the first of spring football. Hope springs eternal, right? You just won a national championship. You did so less than 2 months ago, and now you are back at it. And this is a team that has fresh-faced at a lot of key positions. Obviously, a bunch of starters gone from the defense that are going to have to be molded. Young guys who we've seen flashes of are going to have to start to become leaders. Obviously, all eyes early are going to be on the quarterback competition in terms of what that looks like. So you're interested in pecking order. I know they're going to roll the reps through all 3 of them, but who took the first snap? One thing on that, it's fun for all of us to talk about, but let's remember Devin Brown took the first snaps last year, and so that was one of those things where, Will Howard had to earn it. Remember, Will Howard had a black stripe, too, last year to start practice. So, he had to get that thing taken off, even though he'd started a bunch of games at Kansas State. So don't read too much into – it's like one of those things. Don't read too much into it unless you should read too much into it, is the way that I kind of break that down. But it will be Julian Sayin, it will be Lincoln Kienholz, it'll be Tavian St. Clair. It is a wildly young quarterback room. And we know that Ryan Day is probably going to add a veteran to that in the second portal, which will open here. It's in May, right? The second football portal?
April 16th, so just a couple of days after the spring game.
And then it's open for 2 weeks is kind of the deal. Or is it even longer than that?
It might even be longer than that. I keep getting my portal windows mixed up because I know the basketball one runs for 30 days, but it's a different 30 days if your coach gets fired. So at Iowa, they've got 30 days starting Saturday. So yes, April 16th is when it opens. And really, because you have lawyers now, it might never close.
May never. Yeah, the kid from Wisconsin who's now at Miami.
He just left.
He
left Madison.
Stop me. I dare you to stop me. So whenever that second portal opens and closes, they will add some veterans there. I would imagine that they might add something in the running back room, depending on kind of how that looks over the course of the next month. James People, obviously, atop that pecking order there. They got the transfer from West Virginia. Bo Jackson, a freshman, could be a dude, too. We'll see how that all tracks out. But there's going to be a little bit of portaling that happens in this second window. So just to give you an idea of what this schedule is going to look like, this week the Buckeyes are going to practicing today. They will practice again on Wednesday and then on Friday. Saturday's practice of the spring will take place. The first one will take place on Saturday, March 29th. That is expected to be the scrimmage. Then they're going to have that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule starting the week of March 31st going forward. Student Appreciation Day is set for Saturday, April 5th. The students can observe all of the practice. This was you have this in the prep as well. This was the Jeremiah Smith. Oh, interesting.
Y'all remember where you were that day.
Yeah. It was he's built a little different. Spring practice will close with the spring showcase on April 12th as well. And Ryan Day will talk at 11 o'clock. We'll have Austin on in an hour, get a better feel kind of it. It's the first one. They're just going through some things. But if you just think about this from a quarterback perspective, because that really is the whole operation. everything else can get sorted out. If you need to add depth on the offensive line, fine. There's a second portal when you're able to do that. If you are trying to add another back, fine. You can do that then. If you need something else on the defensive front, fine. Although I don't think you do. I think you're really talented almost everywhere because they've recruited that way and they've developed that way. It really comes down to, can Julian Sayin or Lincoln Kienholz, or I think obviously the long shot would be Tavian St. Clair, can one of them establish themselves as the dude? If you had one wish coming out of spring football, it would be that by the end of spring football, there is a legitimate pecking order, but more so even than that, that beyond the pecking order, there is somebody, my hunch is it'll be saying, and I think most of our hunches it'll be saying, that makes you go, oh, we got one here. Similarly, in the way you felt about Jeremiah Smith, maybe not to that level, best player in the country, but in the vicinity of, wait till you get a load of this kid. That's what the hope is. If I could have one wish on St. Patrick's Day, that's the one. By the end of spring, I don't need Ryan to name him. I'm sure he won't. I'm sure that'll carry into fall. Fine. We'll live with it. But what I want is when you talk to people who are in the know, oh, we got a dude at quarterback. My hunch is they do, but let's see what that looks like over the next month.
And I think best case scenario is on that day, that April 5th, where you've got a couple hundred camera phones inside of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. You're going to have a couple hundred videos that populate your social media timelines of Julian Sayin zipping it to Jeremiah Smith, cooking Ohio State's ones. Because that's what Jeremiah was doing to Denzel Burke last year. And that kind of gave you the sense of, well, this is going to go really well. And they just, you got your first glimpse of that shiny national championship banner today. So I think a lot's going to be showcased then because, well, if you're a starting quarterback at Ohio State, your talent's not going to be able to, you can't just put like a lid on it. Like you have to let it, he's a peacock. You got to let him fly.
I don't think any of us have any doubt, right, that the talent is in that room. Julian Sayin, the number one quarterback in the country. Tavian St. Clair, the number two quarterback in the country. Lincoln Kienholz, USA Today, high school player of the year, or athlete of the year. The talent's definitely there, but you're right, Bo. It'd be nice if we knew someone just took hold of that job, not only with his play on the field, but with his leadership aspect as well.
Yeah, and I don't think you can lead unless you're the dude. I don't think you can lead at that position unless you're the guy. And I think that's something that's really critical, different from past quarterback competitions we've had. I do think you need to get one locked in right away in fall. I understand he's not going to name one. I don't expect him to name one at the end of spring or anything like that. But I do think that it from their perspective, what did Chip say last year anytime we asked him about the quarterbacks? You can't fool the room. So one of these guys needs to have won over the room by the end of spring. And maybe it's both of them. I mean, what Bake just did there, when you think about the talent that he just rattled off, how many programs in the country are jealous of that? Everybody outside of Texas? I mean, who can match that in terms of just the overall talent in the room? Now, it's young, it's inexperienced. They got to prove it, all of those things. But it's there, and they need to be coached up. And Fessler's going to have a big, big role in that. But we need one of those guys to step up, and that's it. Everything else is something that'll take care of itself because the way you've recruited and the way that you know that they get developed under Mickey Marotti. So it's just get the quarterback situation sorted out. The other thing that I'm always very interested in this time of year is jersey number assignments. So, for example, Devin Sanchez, the corner out of Houston. I talked about him last week. They gave him number 4. That's a single digit for a true freshman. Okay? That's an attention getter. So he's going to wear 4. Jeremiah Smith's going to wear 4. I noticed that they have not issued a second number 2 at this point. The only number 2 is the number 2. But there isn't a second number 2. So that means offensively, someone else could jump in to number 2 because obviously Caleb wears it on the defensive side. So that's something to watch for there. So I pay attention to that. I pay attention to the number of switches. Like Arvell Reese is going to 8. So they let him move from 20 to 8. They're expecting big things out of him because they can say no. Like you can laugh and think this is nonsense. It's not. It's not nonsense at all. It's absolutely how this coaching staff, how they feel about these kids, either as true freshmen or how they feel about them as veteran players who are ascending.
I wonder if you keep 2 just Caleb, especially if you want to utilize or think you can utilize him some in the offensive play calling.
Maybe.
Because Emeka had it, and so Caleb comes in. You're not going to take it from Emeka, but this would feel like the only way you could give 2 to an offensive player, knowing that on the other side of the ball, the number 2 is one of the best in the country at playing the game of football. You say you got to be that. You got to be that dude to wear that number right now.
I think your first point might be it. Maybe they are thinking, let's use him as a weapon, and in that instance, because everybody wants. I mean, those single digits are so coveted. They're all doubled. Every single one of them. There's 2 guys. Maybe 6 only has Sonny right now, but everybody else, they're all doubled up.
It's interesting. The first thing when I was looking at that, and I actually can't find it right now. We're in the show. I know it was on 11 Warriors with the new numbers.
Yeah.
Was the first thing I saw when I was going through them is Quincy Porter is number 11. So where does that mean Brandon Ennis went? And the first thing I thought was Brandon Ennis switched to number 2. It just seemed like the natural fit.
Yeah.
And then when I saw he was number 1, I was thinking, maybe we're going to get some Caleb Downs on offense after all.
I think that's a pretty good point out of Race to bring that up. That's probably it. I hadn't thought about that initially is that the reason? But that's probably it, is that maybe Caleb's going to play a little bit of offense. So, we got some breaking news here from Adam Jardy as well. Ohio State will not participate in the college basketball crown. The 2024-25 season officially over for the Buckeyes. I'm telling you, I don't know how they're going to fill the field for that thing. I don't know how you do it without just paying a bunch of players. But if Ohio State's not going to play and Rutgers is not going to play, who's playing in this thing? And you said they need 16 teams?
That's what their website says.
This is on Big Boy Fox, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's their tournament, right? They're putting it on.
This was their response to the NIT, who has a full field this year.
I just think, like, if you are Jake, do you have 10 guys? Do you have 8? Everybody on this roster, like Mobley, Devin Royal, like even the guys that you think for sure, Bruce Thornton that you think for sure, who knows?
Those first 2 you said, oh boy. Gosh, that would be devastating if you lose Mobley and Royal. Oh, that makes, it hurts my heart to even think about it.
Both Columbus kids? Yeah, not great. Speaking of not great, it has not been great in Jacket Land for about a week now. What was once a pretty sweet spot has started to sour a little bit. Still in the wild card mix in a critical game tonight. A little bit of Shelley time coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
At NJM Insurance, we're like a symphony. It all starts by doing the right thing. Add in dedicated reps and put policyholders first. But no jingles or mascots because it's just not us. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Hey guys, it's Anthony Rothman. Let's talk about feeling your best. If you don't feel that same energy, strength, maybe you're feeling moody or it seems you've lost your drive with your partner, it could be low testosterone. You have to go see the true experts at Low T Center. Getting tested is fast and easy. I learned all about the personalized therapy at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. So don't put it off any longer. Go to lowtcenter.com and book that appointment. lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Anthony Rothman here for Tel Ohio. Tel Ohio Credit Union has been financing dreams and fueling the local economy for 90 years. And as the #1 SBA lender among Ohio credit unions, learn why more than 3,000 business owners trust Tel Ohio. Visit telohio.org/business.
Breaking never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Every great team needs a playmaker, a secret weapon, an MVP, like Caster Connection. Our industrial casters and wheels give your business the ultimate assist, improving mobility, efficiency, and safety. Whether you're moving carts, racks, or heavy equipment, we set you up for the win. Don't get benched by bad wheels. Go to casterconnection.com to shop online or to work with our industry-leading caster solution specialists. Caster Connection keeps your business in motion.
The brackets are out, and now it's time to win some cash. Enter the Fan and 10 TV Bracket Challenge for your chance to win $1,000.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew, Ohio bottled, Buckeye bold.
Compete against your favorite Fan and 10 TV personalities, and compete against the ones you hate too. Registration closes at noon on Thursday, so don't wait till the final buzzer. Head to 971thefan.com for all the fun. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Relief from hip and back pain can be a reality when you work with the experts on a mobility and flexibility routine. That's why Stretch Lab was founded. Pro athletes and sports fans alike love Stretch Lab for our customized one-on-one assisted stretch sessions. Discover the difference a good stretch can make, because when your body moves better, you feel better and live better. Visit your local Stretch Lab today or go to stretchlab.com and use code FAN10 to get up to 50% off your first 50-minute stretch. Plus, receive an additional $10 off.
Welcome to NFL Flag. In this game, there's a position for everyone. No matter who you are. Let's go! Show what you got! Lace up your cleats, smear on your eye black, step out on the field, and start having fun. This is flag football, and this game is our game. This game! Our game! This game! Our game! This game! Our game! Visit NFL.com to find a league and get playing today. 1, 2, 3, let's play!
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Federal Elite Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
The gloves. Shelley time.
Sponsored by Visit Central Florida. Discover the real Florida magic at visitcentralflorida.com.
Well, certainly another huge one tonight. Jackets hosting the Devils. 7 o'clock puck drop. Game can be seen on the CW Columbus, and you can be listening to it right here in the Fan. The pregame starts at 6:30. Little Shelley time on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. You big St. Patrick's Day guy, buddy?
Yes, I am, especially today. Today's going to be a big one.
Today's a big one. Is there, how big is St. You're in, yeah, that's right. You're in Toronto. Does Toronto do anything from a big St. Patrick's Day celebration thing or no?
I think they did it yesterday. It kind of appeared that way when I landed last night, but maybe tonight. We'll see. I mean, I'm doing Toronto, Calgary in Toronto, maybe a green beer after. Why not? I'm going to wear a green suit.
Nobody loses
Sounds
there.
like fun, doesn't it?
That sounds fantastic. Growing up, was it a big thing for you? Like as a kid?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My dad's Irish, my mom's English, so.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, and we had 4 kids. I was the oldest of 4 kids, so. Yeah, and I didn't want to get pinched, so I had to wear green. My mom was a school teacher, so she was very thorough and detailed about it. So we were all in.
Is there one good Irish dish?
Shepherd's pie.
That's the winner. That's the best as it's going to get.
That's for me, but it's my mom's shepherd's pie.
How'd she do it?
It's the plainest dish you'll ever have. It's
It is. That's what I'm saying.
Mashed potatoes, corn, ketchup, ground beef.
That's it. That's the
so
list.
good.
That's delicious. That's great.
Delicious.
Hey, man, this has not been a great week for the boys in Union Blue. No. And young team, we said, like, every game's a playoff game now. The Stanley Cup playoffs have begun. We're in it. And this has not gone particularly well. Now, the good news is it's only 1 week. The bad news is you lost some ground and are now on the outside looking into the postseason. But we're going to do this over the next few weeks until we get to the end. Is there something that you have noticed negatively the last week that just isn't the way that it was the week before?
They got down these last 2 games early. Yeah. And I think a young team in a playoff race or in a spot where they're playing the standings, they got away from their game a little bit. They're getting chances, but the other team is playing for their lives as well. And that's a huge learning curve with this group. I thought I noticed some young mistakes in that game where some of our young players, they want to win it right now. They want to make the play right now. This shift, it has to happen. Whereas, I think good teams at this time of year, they don't play for the standings. You don't. That is the result of playing the right way. And when we play the right way, when the Blue Jackets play the right way, we all can sit back and watch and say, like, yeah, they're on their game. Like, that's how they play. You know what I mean? But I think there's nerves. I think there's big moments that players want to grab. I think there's situations where – and hockey's not perfect, and that's the greatest thing about this. Every one of these teams that are in this race right now, Detroit, Ottawa, Rangers, Columbus, you know what? There's flaws within games. There's moments you'd like to have back. It's like it's like when you golf and you miss that putt. But this is a team game. You know what I mean? Like, there's moments and it'll turn. And we'll be on the other side of this roller coaster where it's like, oh, yeah, look at us. Here we are. It's going to be a roller coaster, 16, 17 games here. But the quicker they can get on their focus of how they play within each shift and then watch the results, I think that's what good teams have found in this race right now.
You can. I like that analogy you use. It's I don't think it's intentional, but there is a little bit of like hero ball. Like, I'm going to go get it back right now. Yeah. And it just doesn't work at this level, And the other thing that hasn't worked, honestly, for a while, Joe's the power play. It's been a struggle.
They miss Monahan.
Bigly.
Yeah, they miss Monahan. The youth. So youth can carry you, and I'm talking about Fantilli. Second year in the National Hockey played half a year last year. You can jump into a spot and surprise teams for 10 games, but after that, they're on you. They're coming. Mm-hmm. They're coming for you. You're not getting time and space. You're not making that pass. That shot's not going through. They're going to crowd you. But then if Marchenko starts scoring or Voronkov, then he gets free. On the power play, I think a lot's gone through Zach. Zach's gone to the Four Nations. He's been a busy man. He's counted on a lot for the Blue Jackets. Someone else needs to chip one in here and there so that he can kind of breathe a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there, and I think if you're going to shut down the Blue Jackets power play right now, you go after Zach first.
Yeah, that you can see. The other thing that, and this is just the human nature of it, is you talk about Four Nations, and it was so great seeing Zach in that, and then there was the build to the outdoor game, which is an all-timer, and just human nature. There would be a little bit of a, and then you had to go play Tampa and Florida, like it's like you're playing some of the best teams in the league, and it just feels like they got punched a little bit. If they're going to get off the mat, who are you looking at starting tonight? I mean, it's not must win. You got 16 games left, but at the same time, it sure would be nice if you did. Who are you looking at to get off the mat tonight?
Well, I'm looking at the coach because, there's players going within games and you're starting to see them do in-line adjustments, and I like that. And I think Van Riemsdyk could be a guy that you can put in areas when you want people held accountable. You're not going tonight, Bo. Guess what? James is on the fourth line. He's going to slide in there for a few shifts. Get your attention. I'd like to see a little more of that. But also, I'm looking at the top players. You always have to look at the top players in this situation. We've got a lot of good depth scoring. This team has got generated a lot from the defensemen. I think the top guys, Fantilli, Marchenko, they're young guys, Kent Johnson. Mm-hmm. These guys need to find that simple game and not get frustrated. And then the guys underneath them need to find their game too. You look at Voronkov, for me, he's been doing better, or he's been doing okay, better since the break, the 5 games after the break. But I think there's more there. They've got to have that extra battle on pucks. And it's so easy to say, but you know what? New Jersey's coming in here very urgent tonight as well. They're coming in the Nationwide Arena. They want these 2 points. And I also think, realizing how hard it is to score goals. When this team was playing really well, it was coming easy. They were scoring the first goal. They were kind of rolling with it.
Mm-hmm.
Find the grind game we talked about. And I still look to Werenski too. Fabro's got to be better. I mean, you just look at some players, that have been seamless, kind of in this smooth where they've been playing well. Now they got to be a little better.
Yeah, this is it. Every game's a Stanley Cup playoff game now, and it's been this way for a week, and we'll see how they respond tonight. The home rink will be behind them. We'll get you out of here on this one quickly, buddy. Any changes you think lineup wise for Dean tonight, or?
I think there's something coming. I don't know what he's going to do.
Okay.
But I feel like Jack Johnson was in their last game. He still has Jordan Harris on the wall. He hasn't played. He hasn't played in a while. Severson, what's he going to do? I don't know. I mean, we'll know at 10:30 once he talks.
Yeah.
But being this early, that's why 11:30 is good. But I understand today. You guys got a big day there.
Just once. I'll never do it to you again. Just once. We had.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I know. Get you going. All right, buddy. Well, appreciate you as always, and we look forward to chatting again soon. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, thank you. I enjoyed John Davidson tonight on the home broadcast. Hall of Fame broadcaster. It's always amazing to watch him do this. So
that tells
you in for me, and I'm Toronto.
That tells you all you needed about Jody Shelley. His understudy is a Hall of Fame broadcaster. That's how good Jody is. That's how good he is. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right, thanks. Happy St. Patty's Day. Bye-bye.
All right, there he goes. A little bit of Shelley time on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Second hour, we blitz the weekend coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, Ohio State fans. While others cut corners, like that team up north, Valvoline Instant Oil Change is Buckeye-level quality. We train hard and treat every day like game day. We're always quick, but never rushed. And you can stay in your car while our experts do the work. Valvoline Instant Oil Change is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Visit valvoline.com/Buckeyes to find your nearest location and access exclusive fan savings.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
When you buy from Pella, you could meet Brad, Bob, maybe Mike, or 54 others that make our local Pella team so awesome.
And if you buy from me, you'll get to meet me.
Just a one-man operation, Wilson?
I've got a bunch of cousins helping me, but based on their work, I'm not sure they've got thumbs.
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Confidence is key this March, both in picking the right Cinderella teams for your bracket and the right contractor for your exterior project. When it comes to your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call the team you can trust, Newman Roofing. Call 614-NEW-ROOF today or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
In-betweens are made for pizza. In between meals, meetings, thoughts, that's pizza time. Stop at Speedway and get 2 hot, delicious slices of pizza and a Mountain Dew 20-ounce for $5 with Speedy Rewards. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 4/29/25. See app for full terms.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and all right, get this. If my scale had feelings, I think it'd be filing a restraining order. I am down now 63 pounds in just 14 weeks. You do the math on that, that's about 4.5 pounds every single week. Last week alone, another 4.2, poof, gone. The fat just keeps melting off. And let me tell you, I really owe 99% of this to my coach, Natalie. She's not just helping me lose weight, she's out here engineering it, tweaking my plan each week, making sure I don't miss a snack, telling me to add more butter. Yep, heard that right. Well, olive oil in there too, that's pretty good, and basically being the therapist we all need when making a gigantic life change. Wouldn't you say 63 pounds is a big 180? This is what Awaken 180 brings. Guidance, support, and a plan that actually works. There's no guesswork, there's no starvation, no magic potions, just real results week after week, brick by brick. If you're tired of hoping the weight will come off, get with Awaken 180 and know that it will. 63 pounds down, how much do you want to lose? You can start today at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800.
Back in the studio with a return visit from
Todd Schmelt.
Todd, the last time you were with us, you claimed to be
the dumbest person in Columbus.
You're being really hard on yourself.
Not in the least. You know what I got?
I hate to ask.
One of them thermostats with the dial and the needle. Woo, woo, woo.
Maybe that's not modern, but not.
What am I? Eli Whitney, Elias Howe, Johann Gertis?
I don't know who those people are.
Those are old-timey people from the 19th century, and that's me. Outdated, like my silly old thermostat.
Okay, look, you're not the dumbest guy in Columbus. You just haven't called Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Those guys. Whether it's the latest technology, fixing your furnace, or a brand new system, they know all the stuff so you don't have to.
I don't have to know it all?
Nah, you just have to know the pros who knows.
Apex Pros. I'm not the dumbest guy in Columbus.
I didn't even know who Johann Gertis was.
Inventor of the gas-powered unicycle. Look it up, doy.
Okay, you don't have to be me.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Colin Man here for Universal Windows Direct. You know what's better than new windows? A new window from Universal Windows Direct that's on sale. It's the tax time sale. You save big while making your home comfortable and energy efficient. You buy 2 windows, you get 2 free. Plus, you pay no interest till 2030. Plus, you get an extra $500 off your home improvement project in March only. Schedule your free home estimate today, 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Evan Cohen here. Picking a place to build a life is a lot like selecting a draft pick. Make a decision that will set you up for long-term success. Pick Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, you'll find dynamic career opportunities, beautiful seasons, affordable living, and legendary weekends. From its high quality of life and great schools to its fine arts, culinary, and pro sports scenes, Wisconsin gives you so much to look forward to. That's why you should pick Wisconsin. Learn more about making Wisconsin your home. Visit pickwisconsin.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Ohio State football began spring practice this morning. Buckeyes will practice 14 times over the next month. It'll culminate in the annual spring showcase at Ohio Stadium Saturday, April 12th. Ohio State's head coach Ryan Day will speak with the media around 11 o'clock this morning. We'll have his comments live on the Fan when he takes the podium. The Ohio State men's basketball team was one of the first 4 out of the NCAA tournament. The field was unveiled on Sunday. Buckeyes missed the tournament for the 3rd year in a row. Ohio State will not participate in any postseason tournament action. Hear more from Ohio State Hoops today at noon on the Jake Diebler Show. For the 3rd straight year, the Ohio State women's squad will host games in the NCAA tournament. Buckeyes are a 4 seed. They'll play Montana State Friday at the Shot at 5:30. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa Platinum credit card. Apply at bmifcu.org/Visa.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Look, that the news that Ohio State is turning down the college basketball crown. I see, you see folks on social talking about, hey, you need young team get as many reps. I don't think it's about getting reps. I think it's about, can they field a team? And I think they aren't alone. Like, who can field a team? I think that thing's going to be very difficult to fill out. The other thing you have to remember is, and I saw CB mention this on social, and he's exactly right, you've got to be locked in at that portal. I mean, that portal's opening up, and you got to be on it in a big way. So it's like playing a game that means relatively nothing, unless they put some sort of giant prize money on it. I think this is what you're going to get out of this thing. And if there's $20 million on the line for whoever teams wins at NIL, then maybe you're on something. But other than that, the way that this calendar's set up in men's basketball, it's just completely broken, man. And you have a portal open in the middle of the NCAA tournament. Like, there's no damn thought to anything they did with any of these portals. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and to your point about the college basketball crown, I'm just looking at the corporate partners for Fox. Like, these are companies that can afford to have money ready to go right away, and that needs to be the case almost Sunday afternoon. Like, you're talking about the selection, so at 6 o'clock. I realized that this has been an unserious endeavor since the announcement, but I realized exactly how unserious and how bad things were going to be for Fox when, after that selection show goes final, you have no new news. And you knew the same thing you did about the crown on Sunday that you did on Friday.
Yeah.
What they need to have is money ready to go now, cash banded up for teams, and then what they need to have is, like, if you've seen Squid Game, a giant pig in the middle of the arena, and after every game it just fills up with more cash, and the winning team gets all of that cash.
I think that's it. And
that's your incentive.
Quite honestly, the fact that the people in charge of college athletics put these portals where they put them continues to be stupefying. You can't even tell me this. You can't tell me this is about academics at all. The December one, you could say, well, we got to get them in for second semester. There's no reason to have a portal open in March. None. This isn't about academics at all. Like, it's got nothing to do with it. If it's about academics, then have it in May when the second semester's over. Like, who's still on the quarter system? Is anybody? I can't.
I think Ohio State was one of the last schools on it.
Right.
That was almost 10 years ago.
It doesn't even make sense from that perspective. There's no reason for this portal to be open while you're playing in the NCAA tournament or the Crown or wherever the hell you want to play in the NIT. Are they going to be able to fill any of those tournaments? Probably not. There aren't guys on rosters. They're trying to find the next payday. And this is what they've legislated themselves into. Let's blitz the weekend.
Bishop and Friends present a Weekend Sports Blitz.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
I believe I had that. What'd you have, Bake?
I believe I had that the Big Ten hoops teams would be on the outside looking in this thing. A lot of people were saying that the Big Ten was going to get 10 teams, 9 or 10 is what they were saying. Some people tried to say Ohio State still had a shot at getting in, that they thought Indiana was in for sure. Well, the Big Ten ended up getting 8 teams in. Ohio State and Indiana obviously both left out. And that was, honestly, you could argue, nitpick, whatever. I'm tired of nitpicking over mediocrity. Who cares? Yeah. You know, if you're 68, 67, you're not winning anything, so who cares?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I believe I had that the Cavs would lose to the Magic Sunday in Cleveland. It was just kind of the perfect storm of everything. Cleveland didn't have Evan Mobley. Cleveland was going for its 17th straight win. The Magic have been reeling since the beginning of the season, but they've been playing better as of late. It's fine. 108 to 103. You kind of fall apart late in that game. You let the Magic play really physical defense that you somehow don't match. And it does show that Evan Mobley is extremely important to the defensive prowess of this Cleveland squad. So it's fine.
I heard Shark saying this morning that if the Celtics won all of their remaining games, the Cavs would have to go 6-8 to not be the 1 seed. So that's not going to happen. So chasing down us, it's fine. It's fine. They're gonna be the top seed in the East, and in order to win, you're gonna get a 7th game on your court. That's all you could ask for. I believe I had this, and this is a rule of thumb for all you parents out there. Anything more than 2 on a sleepover is an unmitigated disaster. It just is. So NBC wants to have a sleepover on Friday. I tell my wife, yeah, fine, 2, that's it. 2 balloon to 4. So now you have 5 adolescent punks running around your house. 2 o'clock in the morning, I go down. This is the exact quote. And I've coached a lot of these kids. I've known since they were little. Enough. Enough of the BS. Except I said it. First time they've ever heard me curse. And then that put them to sleep. But 2 o'clock in the morning. They're still wrestling. They're playing soccer in the basement. None of these kids even play soccer. They're just ramming into each other. The dog's barking. Chaos. 2 people. That's the number. That's manageable. Anything else, a disaster. I did not have that. What did you not have, Big?
Speaking of Big Ten hoops, I did not have Michigan and Wisconsin playing for the Big Ten tournament championship, and good on both of those programs. But I thought it would be Michigan State and either an Illinois or Purdue at the end. That's what I was seeing. Congratulations, though, to Michigan and Wisconsin. Wisconsin, kind of a sneaky, decent team this year, getting to that Big Ten final. So good on both.
I did not have maybe Trey Hendrickson. We'll get to Chase and Higgins and what they earned in a little bit here. But reporting from Diana Rossini has the Bengals working to retain Trey Hendrickson. Discussions ongoing between the two sides. Where are they getting all this pie from all of a sudden? I thought the salary cap, I thought just restrictions on what you can spend on a team. From here on out, when anybody tells me that the salary cap's restrictive, I will tell them no. No, the salary cap is imaginary, and it'll be above $300 million next year.
Yeah. We'll get into the details on if they're it's pretty amazing that they're this far into it. We'll get into the details here shortly. I did not have in Division I boys basketball, Olentangy Orange, Reynoldsburg for it all. Damn good job, Central Ohio. Knocking off St. Ignatius did the Orange boys. Reynoldsburg got by Lakota West. Awesome to have an all. And by the way, big ups. Pick Central girls won the state championship as well, so that's awesome. We're well represented, Central Ohio, on the high school basketball side of things. Player that impressed, Bake, what do you got?
Well, real quick, coming up in 3 things later on, I'll have a cool stat about what you just talked about.
Let's go.
On Thursday, Cincinnati Purcell Marion's Dee Alexander won her 3rd straight Miss Basketball Award. The only other person to ever do that in the state in women's basketball was Kirsten Bell from Canton McKinley back in the early 2010s. The only boys basketball player ever to do that, someone you've all heard of, LeBron James. Then on Friday, Dee went out and led her team to their 4th straight state championship. The first 3 were in Division II. This year, Division III. 27 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists for Dee. That's on top of her 18.5 rebound, 4 assist performance as a junior, 34 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists as a sophomore, 19 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists as a freshman in the biggest game of the year.
Where's she playing college?
She's going to UC, and good on her. She had offers from everywhere, but she said she wanted to stay close to home and her parents, and she wants her hometown school to become a winner.
There you go.
I was impressed with an entire team this weekend. The Ohio State women's hockey team, the defending national champions, are into the Frozen Four for the 5th consecutive season. They beat St. Lawrence in an NCAA regional final at the Ohio State ice rink 6-1. They'll have.
I'm going to go. Go ahead.
I was going to say they have Cornell on Friday, Wisconsin, Minnesota, the other side of that bracket.
Very, very cool there. Very, very cool for Nick Myers and the Buckeye lacrosse team. Went and beat the 2-time defending champion Notre Dame a couple of weeks ago. Last week, rather, this time go out to Denver and beat them. They are humming. The Buckeye Lax boys are. Player who disappointed, Bake.
For me, it's Daniil Tarasov, allowing 3 goals on 20 shots the other night against the Rangers in a 4-0 loss. Unfortunately for him, every time it seems like he has a chance to grab the net, he just throws a clunker out there.
Yeah, he's like good for 1 clunker a month, it feels like. I was disappointed with the Big Ten men's basketball tournament championship game. That was a clunker. And they have it so late that I think Michigan, by winning it, they'd already seeded the Wolverines.
They do that for TV, but I think that we've been negatively seeded by it for a long time. So the brackets are kind of sorted out by that point. I'm just going to go all Jackets. Just all Jackets. It's possible that they did what we all asked them to do, which was build toward the outdoor game, and maybe there was too much into that because it has not been the same since. Some of it's the teams you're playing, but some of it is you're just not getting the performances that you had leading up to the outdoor game. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. Quickly, Bake, who do you got?
For me, it's Nadine Muzzerall, the head coach of the Ohio State women's hockey ice team. It's their 5th straight Frozen Four. If they beat Cornell Friday night, which they did earlier this year, it'll be their 4th straight title game.
Mine will be a question. Is Rick Pitino going to take another team to the Final Four?
He's mine too. St. John's, Big East champs. That's the perfect example of NIL, portal, veterans, immediate. That's year 2, and he's got him the number 2 seed in a region on a program that's lost its way for a very, very long time. The Bengals found their way, and they found a bunch of money and a very, very big pie. How did they pull this off? Can they even pull off more? We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Skyline is celebrating St. Patty's Day for 2 days this year. Come enjoy your favorite 3, 4, or 5-way with green noodles, March 16th and 17th only. The only place to get your green ways is at participating Skyline locations.
At NJM Insurance, we like to think of ourselves as a symphony. We start with a foundation of doing the right thing. Then we layer in dedicated reps, whose priority is you. Add in excellent discount programs. And last, but certainly not least, we put our policyholders first. And the reason we don't use jingles or mascots is because it's just not us. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Basketball from noon to midnight. Scotty Vegas here, and we're throwing a Vegas-style basketball party at Hollywood Casino at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. I even went out to Vegas to scout out how to throw this party. Tough assignment. The Fan is doing 24 hours of watch parties. The opening weekend of the tournament, there'll be custom T-shirts, Pop-A-Shot, horse games. Oh, and don't miss a game with a 50-foot video wall. Reserve your spot at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone, any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could dump all your problems on someone else's back? Well, when you wake up to a clogged drain or a plumbing issue, make that Mr. Rooter's problem.
Call 855-MISTERS today or MrRooter.com.
Call Mr. Rooter. He'll be there quick.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community. Except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station. Except Bo. The Fan.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
That storm system is now pulling off to the east. In its wake will be some much colder weather out there today. Temperatures will be only in the 40s this afternoon. Don't like the cold? Look no further than tomorrow. It'll be near 70 both Tuesday and Wednesday. Sunshine today, sunshine again tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If you don't like listening to Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face. For real.
You want to fight, do you? Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan. Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is, and we are sponsored and brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 75 years. Well, the pie is big down in Cincinnati. Look, there's a lot of ways you can take this, but I'll just take it the most straightforward from a fan perspective. This is a big win. There will be people who talk about how much of the pie is being spent on 3 players, potentially on 4 if they get Trey Hendrickson done as well, and how are they going to fill in a defense, and how are they going to do this, but that's their situation to sort out. From a fan perspective, you have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins locked in together. And so you have as much firepower as anybody in the league. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have one of the best receivers in the league, the best number 2 receiver in the league when he's healthy. So offensively, you can score with anybody. And with that, you can walk into any stadium in the National Football League and say, let's go. You're fearful of nobody. So, yes, there will be a situation of how do you put a defense together? There will be a situation of how do we fix the offensive line? The answer to those questions are going to be via the draft. You have to hit on picks. And you have to develop the guys that you did draft. That's what's going to be the difference between if this Bengals team can be a Super Bowl contender or just a really dangerous team that you have to contend with on any given Sunday. But from a just face value perspective, they did it. You can also question, I think fairly, how much they would have saved had they done this last summer. And the answer to that is quite a bit. Just on the Jamar Chase deal alone, it would have been $6 million, $5 million a year on that if they just would have done that back in the summer. I would imagine the same is true of T. Higgins as those numbers went up and up and up when you started to see people getting over $30 million on the receiver market. So they could have done this for less a while ago. But again, those are the nitpicky things in this. And they're real things. They are. But in the end, to this point, they've done it. Gesicki is locked in. Jamar Chase is locked in. T. Higgins is locked in. The deal on Chase, 4 years, $161, $112 guaranteed. The annual salary, because of course they said that they would. They beat Myles Garrett, $4.25 million per. That is the highest average annual salary for a non-quarterback in the National Football League. That is upwards of $5 million more per year than Justin Jefferson got. That is a total resetting of the market. By the way, if you were to say, is it possible that the Browns did the Myles Garrett deal the way they did to make it more difficult on the Bengals? Would that have played a part in it? I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if that played a role. T. Higgins' deal, 4 years, $115. It is guaranteed the first 2 years. As Albert Breer points out, if you do the math and not the new money math on the deals for Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, the contracts add up to about $110 million per year. It's a big number, but with the cap expected to top $300 million next year, hardly impossible to work around. And reporting today, as Reese pointed out in the Weekend Blitz, that they are trying to get Trey Hendrickson done as well. All the reporting on that was that the ask for Hendrickson from them was so extreme, like multiple first-round picks, that no one was biting at that apple. So how do you keep Trey Hendrickson happy? It can't be in the miles. It's not going to be in the 40. He's older, all of those things. Is it the Max Crosby type deal, like 36, 35? Is that the number that keeps Trey happy? That's something to monitor. But at the very least, and there are those things that you look at, and those things deserve to be questioned that I mentioned. But if you're a Bengals fan today, they kept them all so far.
Yeah, understandably, Saturday or Friday when that report started to leak out, you saw a lot of Bengals fans go, let's go. And now you wake up Monday morning with the Trey Hendrickson news, and now it has to be a let's go. I was talking last week about how the Buffalo Bills are in let's go mode. Like, they got to do this now with the money they spent. Similarly with the Baltimore Ravens. They're running everything back. Let's go. So for the Cincinnati Bengals, like, this can't be a 9-8 season. But no, they've done enough. The front office at this point now, and I don't know. I'm going to ask Bengals fans this: are they absolved of all of their previous sins? Because now it has to be on Zach Taylor and the coaching staff to make sure they do not go 9-8, because 9-8 gets Zach Taylor fired.
Yeah, it does. I think the pressure's on everybody down there. The pressure's going to be on Duke Tobin to make sure he drafts guys who can come in and play. Again, like they could have saved money had they done this sooner, but at least they didn't say, well, we're not doing it at all because now it's more expensive. They did what they said they were going to do. They did what their quarterback asked them to do. Every time Joe Burrow was available leading into the Super Bowl, he said, why can't we do this? Philly's doing this. Why can't we? We can't let our best players leave. So they made Joe happy. They made Bengals fans happy. And to me, they've got a 4-year window now where these two receivers and Burrow and Gesicki, they're all going to be together. This is a 4-year championship window that they've entered into now. And that, as a Bengals fan, that's awesome, because you were burned so much by this ownership through the years that you just didn't seem likely they'd be able to do it. But it feels like they are. And it feels like they may also be able to keep Hendrickson, which is crazy to me that they were able to get all of this done. And they didn't have to take on private equity, which I thought for sure they'd have to do. So for all the people who've wanted to see like the Brown family books, you've seen the books. The books are in the terms of they have $112 million that they had to have an escrow to be able to do the deal for Chase. And they had to do that for Joe as well. And they did it for Higgins. So they've got liquid enough to be able to pull this off.
When I saw this news yesterday, there was 3 things that popped into my head. One, I can't believe that they got this done. I had no faith that this was going to happen. And the fact that they got it done is, I mean, good on the Bengals ownership for paying up and getting these guys signed. The second thing I thought of, and it's funny, I saw a tweet that someone put out, is, man, what would this have been if they would have done this last year? And somebody put out a tweet saying if they would have acted when they were supposed to, they could have got Jesse Bates for $12 million a year, Higgins for $23 a year, Chase for $35, and Hendrickson for $25. And it was like, man, your amount of pie went up a lot waiting a year. And then the other thing, there's a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow to win a Super Bowl in the next 4 years.
Yeah. But he'll be fine with that. I'm sure that, I mean, he knows what he signed up for. I'm not worried about him or any of the pressure. I think he swims in those waters very, very freely. In terms of, here's what they did. They probably bet that Jamar Chase wouldn't have a triple crown. And this is the thing, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. When you do those things, when you wait to pay people until they continue to prove it over and over and over again, inevitably the price is higher. It also puts you in kind of this odd spot of rooting against your guys to accumulate great seasons so you can pay them less. But to be fair to them, the price went up and they paid it. They paid it. They didn't let them walk. They paid it. Duke Tobin, the last 2 years at the Combine, I said, we really want to, we anticipate keeping T. Higgins. And every time he did, I said, what are you kidding? How can you do all of this? Well, they did it. So, yes, could they have saved money of doing this earlier? Of course, they could have. Is it going to be challenging putting together a defense under the rest of the cap if they do Hendrickson as well? A little. Are they going to have to hit on their picks? Absolutely. Are the guys they pick going to have to develop into starters and contributors? Yes, absolutely. No doubt. But they have all their picks. They didn't have to give up picks to go acquire somebody. They have a franchise quarterback at the highest level. They're in the dance, and they're going to be dangerous. And it is still a golden era for Bengals fans. You're still in it.
And Pittsburgh's still waiting for Aaron Rodgers.
Everybody is.
Because there's no plan. There was no plan in Pittsburgh.
No. And there's a plan that's trying to be executed in Cleveland that right now just has Kenny Pickett. I mean, that's it. So it is you and Baltimore at the top of the division and even no matter, to me, whatever Pittsburgh does, I put Cincinnati ahead of them by keeping all these guys. So that's the spot you're in. And if you're a Bengals fan, yes, you can question the timing and boy, it would have been smarter to do it this way, but you're winning as big as possible. You have Joe Burrow now for the remainder of his prime with 2 of the elite weapons for him to throw to. Hit on your picks, be in the mix, and they will be. Austin Ward in 2 minutes. Buckeye practice number 1. His impressions coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. All tournament long, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. Sign up with the promo code Radio100 to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Save big money on your next outdoor project at Menards. Menards has the best in-stock selection of AC2 pressure-treated wood fencing, lumber, and decking. All easy to load in our convenient drive-through lumber yard. Plus, you can get free estimates fast with our fence and deck design programs in-store or on Menards.com. Don't forget to check out our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious. That's you stepping up to the plate. That's you winning your kickball game.
Yeah, let's go.
That's you taking another sip of your Do the Do.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution specialists.
He knows everything about the Buckeyes. He's been offered tens of dollars by a certain team to spill his secrets. He's told that certain team to go to hell.
Damn you all to hell!
He's Austin Ward.
And when he joins, he'll be joining on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. First practice of the spring going on at Ohio State. Probably just about ready to wrap up over there as well. Ryan Day going to speak, and we'll take that press conference for you coming up at 11 o'clock when he does get to the podium. This is the start. This is, in a way, it's like probably closing the book on the national championship, and now this is the building of the 2025 Ohio State football team. Some of that work, the groundwork, has already been in. There's been workouts, all of it. But my hunch is the offseason program is very, very different this year than what it's been in previous years. And I think this spring will be very different to what it's been in previous years. But the work towards that begins now, and obviously quarterbacks will be at the top of that conversation, as it will be someone with very little to no experience, certainly making their first start, whoever it is, will be making their first start as a Buckeye. So those are the things I think I'm most curious about, Reese, as we get into this thing, and I think all of us are. How did the quarterbacks look? It's one practice, sure. We're going to overreact to it, absolutely. But at the same time, how did those guys look spinning it?
Yeah, it's an incredible needle to thread, right, with having quarterbacks without any college football starts, without any legitimate college football experience. No, I'm not counting the Cotton Bowl. I've neuralized that from my brain. And then have these guys not only be ready to run an offense, but also be ready to lead a team. Or have one of these guys be ready to lead an offense and lead a team when they've never done it before, knowing what's coming down the pipeline. Like, I would feel so much more assured of this if Texas wasn't looming on August 30th.
Yeah, I do think, though, because of you just won the national championship less than 2 months ago, because we live in a 12-team playoff world, that game is still going to be one of the biggest regular season games in the history of the program. But it isn't like if you lose it, you're cooked. This is such a long – college football now has become such a long play. It is and you could argue if that's done damage to it, that all of these games aren't as critical. I mean, this is a Buckeye team that lost at Oregon and lost the rivalry game and won the national title. I mean, the sport is different now in every way. And so that will be a magical, I hope, Saturday night, key on night, emphasis on night game to open the season, hopefully. But at the same time, like, it's almost like a bowl game.
Yes.
Kind of. Like, it feels more like it's going to feel more like a bowl game to me than it's going to feel like a must win or, my God, we've got to burn the house down.
I wonder, with the like pivotal moments that you look back on in the 2024 college football season. Like you look at like Will Howard and his response post Oregon. I really wonder, had Texas had a game after Quinn Ewers like fumble, scoop, and score, like does that break him as a quarterback to where like you think about that every time you see a defender crashing down on you? And so for these quarterbacks that are so young in the process and so new to this whole thing of college football and the 12-team playoff era, if anything happens to where you look back on it and you go, boy, they just couldn't get over that hump. You know, and I think that's what's going to be so critical about this process of getting them prepared for what's going to be a circus against the Texas Longhorns. I just look to that game and I think, I don't know if the footballness of it's going to be tough for them because these are football thoroughbreds. Like these are guys with all the talent in the world, all the prettiest throws, the athleticism, everything we think is there because since an early age, these guys were handpicked to be next QB1 in whatever organization, but just everything around that just becomes so new. And especially nowadays where you have a student appreciation day, it'll have a couple thousand students that'll have camp where you'll invite fans to come watch and all eyes will be on you almost every single time you take a snap. Like the development of these guys is going to be so key. And I think that's what I don't think we'll ever be able to fully appreciate about a guy like Will Howard, and none of that rattled him.
No, nobody did. No, I mean, you got whoever starts they've never started a game.
Right.
You know, and on the other sideline is going to be Arch Manning. So
you do have that question with him because I keep going back to the Cotton Bowl when they were clamoring for Arch or during different points of the season when you had a healthy Quinn Ewers. I think Steve Sarkisian's a knower of the ball, as the kids would say. If Sarkisian knew on his sideline was a better option than Quinn Ewers in a national college football semifinal, he's putting that better option in. He didn't.
That's one of the craziest stories because, you know, I remember we talked about that a little bit in the lead up to that game. Like, would there be some sort of a package for Arch? And obviously he was the better athlete than Quinn. He was bigger. He's a better runner. Most people thought he had the stronger arm. It almost felt like they had from 30,000 feet, it felt like they had an agreement that Quinn Ewers was going to be the starter in 2024 almost no matter what. And that there was nothing that Arch could do to unseat him. But it will absolutely be Arch Manning's team going forward. And so I think this will be number 1 versus number 2 or number 1 versus number 3. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas starts the year number 1. I really wouldn't. I think that would very much be something that the pollsters would have Texas 1, Ohio State 2, or maybe it's inverted. But everybody else, I mean, Penn State's going to be really highly ranked in this thing. Georgia will be highly ranked. But I think it's pretty certain that those two teams will be number 1 and number 2 in the country to start the year. So it's going to have all of that juice to it. And I didn't really think of this until I said it out loud. The more I think about it, though, I do think it's going to have like almost a one-off bowl game feel. Like here's an exhibition between two great teams, and then you're going to go into your non-conference and kind of build towards your conference games. It's kind of the feeling I think it'll have to it is really like a one-off bowl game. And hey, we'll probably see you again in the playoff. That's kind of my gut feeling on that.
And that's where I wonder about a hangover, right, from that game. Now, it's beneficial for Ohio State that they've got Grambling and Ohio as the next games for that. But, you know, Texas, are they able to – I'm not sure right in front of me the Texas non-conference slate before they enter SEC play. But, like, loser can't just dwell on it.
No.
Because your conference is – I think the Big Ten will be better this year.
Well, you're going to have two teams that can win a national title. You're going to have Penn State. You're going to have Ohio State that can win it. You know, beyond that, you know, I think it's a lot to think Underwood's going to be a lead at Michigan right away.
Right away, no, but he'd better pull some eliteness sometime. Yeah. $10.5 million isn't so you could just kind of be like, we'll get him next year.
No. But I think it's more of a long play there. Texas's schedule is very similar to ours. So it's here to start, then it's San Jose State, then it's UTEP, Sam Houston State. Their SEC schedule rather is at Florida, Red River, at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, Vanderbilt at home, at Georgia, Arkansas at home, Texas A&M at home. So compared to like what they did last year, what Georgia did last year, this one's not so bad. It's manageable. It absolutely is manageable for them. So from the Buckeye perspective, That's really what you're trying to do right now is figure out who are my dudes. You need your leaders, your sophomores and juniors who have been in the mix. You think about Sonny Styles and the type of leader that guy's going to be. Is he going to be the guy wearing the block O? Those type of conversations are going to be had. You've got as big a stud as you could have in the back in Caleb Downs. Jeremiah Smith is known. I saw him warming up with the defensive ends. Adam King posted a video of that. But it really will be about the quarterbacks. And that's what we want to hear from Ryan Day. When he hits the podium at 11 o'clock, is that conversation.
I'm also looking at video. Julian saying they're starting their role in the quarterbacks. So I don't know if he's with the ones or the twos or the threes, but, with the talk about the leaders, and even the leaders on the offensive side of the ball, like the leaders that you'll have on your offensive front, Jeremiah Smith, who is a leader of this team, that can make you feel a lot better about your unknown at the quarterback position because those guys will be able to make plays when quarterbacks need them. When bad balls are thrown, that's why you go to the portal and get a Max Clare from Purdue. That's why you have the tight end from Ohio that was injured in spots last year. But you have guys that can make inexperienced quarterbacks look good and feel good about that throw I'd like to have back.
Speaking of those quarterbacks, just looking on the socials and seeing some posts of these guys throwing, and there's one in particular, they kind of highlight Julian saying throwing the ball to Jeremiah Smith, but they all throw at the same time, and the one thing you can see right away is all three of these guys can sling it. They've got some arm strength. I know that was some question last year. The one question with Will was his arm strength enough? I don't think you're going to have to worry about that with either of those three. The other thing I see, though, in this is Tavian St. Clair kind of throws the ball at a lower point than the other two. And maybe that might be an issue moving forward with him if they're going to work on that to have him get that ball up a little higher to keep passes from getting batted down.
Yeah, I think all you need to know about the real truth on the quarterbacks, if Jeremiah Smith, who was offered more money to play somewhere else, and Carnell Tate, who was offered more money to play somewhere else, didn't leave, they know the quarterbacks are good. It's the same thing I felt when C.J. Stroud was going to be the starter after Justin. They all stayed. So they're not staying if they don't have a quarterback. So there's great quarterback play. It's just a matter of how quickly do they ascend. With Thing or Not a Thing up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on The Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is the Daily Show with Ohio State coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. Jake, I know disappointing not to make the NCAA tournament, but want to ask you about when you look at how you put this non-conference schedule together this year and the things that happen in the non-conference, how that was a roadmap to kind of get you where you wanted to be in that regard.
I thought certainly we played a tough schedule. Felt like it prepared us for helped us be in position here down the stretch to make the tournament. We got to reevaluate what the committee is looking at in the future, certainly, but I think our strength of schedule was an important part of what we did this year.
And certainly some high points when you consider beating Texas to begin the year, winning against Kentucky, and a win at Purdue. That has to be some high points that any coach would want to have part of their schedule, wouldn't it be, Jake?
Well, I think that and our 6 quad 1 wins that we had, and we're all important. And certainly the amount of quad 1 wins we had, or quad 1 games we had overall, said a lot about our strength of schedule.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Jay can ask you about how things played out not getting into the NCAA tournament. And I know there's still another postseason option that is yet to be discussed, but I want to ask you about how this season brought about some highlight games and highlight performances by some of your players. Guys like Bruce Thornton, Micah Parrish, the way they played at times. That has to be something about this year that will really stand out in a lot of people's minds.
Well, I think Bruce Thornton had some really big games, and in some against some really big-time opponents in the NCAA tournament, and it speaks to certainly his leadership and how hard he worked and developed from last year to this year. And then I also want to point out that I think Jimmy Mobley and Devin Royal both, had some big-time games, and that's an exciting thing for us as we look at player development and how important that is. I thought there was some really good development that happened this year, and it's got to continue to be an important part of our program.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help? Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man. Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, a little over an hour ago, Fox Sports unveiled the college basketball crown and the 16 teams that will make up the inaugural field to start on March 31st in Las Vegas. Your two Big Ten representatives are Nebraska and USC. A pair of former Ohio State coaches will be leading their teams to Las Vegas. Chris Holtmann and DePaul are going to be taking on Cincinnati in the first round. And you've got Thad Matta and Butler taking on the Utah Utes. So that Utah-Butler game will be the first of this tournament. That'll be March 31st at 3 o'clock. Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing. The only thing that was interesting to me about, and I wasn't going to watch, honestly, even if we were in it, I don't think I'd watch this. Like, I don't care. I think that the thing that is interesting, though, is the idea of having to fill a field amidst a transfer portal window that is open, and how many of these teams, even Thad's Butler team or Chris's DePaul team, how many kids are they going to have? Like, who's filling those rosters? That's the thing to me is what does that even look like? So is the whole field is set then, and there's only two Big Ten representatives?
Correct.
And it's USC and Nebraska. That means that everybody else said no.
Including Ohio State.
So there's only 8. There are 8 Big Ten teams in the NCAA tournament. there are 2 teams in this, and there are none. Does the NIT even still exist?
Yes.
But there's no Big Ten teams in it because if there were, they'd have to play in this thing first.
Correct.
That's the rule. So there's no Big Ten teams in that. So that means that the following teams who missed the NCAA tournament, Indiana, Ohio State, Rutgers, Minnesota, Northwestern, Iowa, Penn State, and Washington all said no to this thing. They all said no. Now, I don't know if Washington had a right to say no. There's only 2. No, they did because USC's 16 and 17. I was curious if there was like an under 500 component, but there isn't because Rutgers turned it down. Now, Minnesota made a coaching change. But think of how staggering that is, folks. All of those teams probably can't field teams to even participate.
So I'll pay attention to this a little bit because of Thad. I still love Thad, and I want Thad to do as good as possible always. So I'll be rooting for Thad in this thing, and I'll pay attention to what they do. But, yeah, there's nothing here outside of that tie that is interesting to any of this. And the fact that these teams aren't going to have enough players to participate in everything, the way this has gotten is just a total turnoff to me. Like, this is gross that we're just totally redoing rosters every year.
Well, the adults ruined it. Could have been fixed a long time ago.
So you talk about Minnesota's going through a coaching change. Villanova fired their head coach on Friday. Iowa dismissed Fran McCaffrey after 15 seasons with the Hawkeyes. McCaffrey was Iowa's all-time wins leader, 297. He had 143 Big Ten victories. On Saturday, Iowa sophomore Owen Freeman entered the transfer portal. Now that the coach departs, they have 30 days from that from departing of the head coach. The 6'10 Freeman averaged 16.5 points, 6.7 rebounds this season. He missed the final 6 weeks with a finger injury. He's currently ranked as On3's number 1 overall player in the portal. 4 schools to watch for his services, according to On3, one from the SEC, a major Big Ten program, a Big East school, and a West Coast Conference school. Thing or not a thing?
The West Coast Conference school is Gonzaga. The Big East school is St. John's. The Big Ten major program, I would bet on Michigan. And the SEC, I'd bet Kentucky for him. If I'm assigning teams to what you just said, I would feel pretty good that those are the team assignments of where he could land. I'll say this about Fran McCaffrey. He was there 15 years. They played a lot of fun basketball, right? They played a lot of it. They played into the Big Ten tournament. I think he won it at least one time at least, maybe a couple of times. But this was a fun watch for 15 years. And it feels like he kind of maxed out of what Iowa can be. So good job out of them keeping him this long. You understand why they had to move off of it. A little bit of a malaise, certainly. But at the same time, that's a hell of a run at Iowa. 15 years at Iowa. His kids all went through there and played there. That's a good job.
I was kind of shocked when I saw this because I feel like the best run of Iowa basketball ever has been with Fran McCaffrey. I know Tom Davis, baby. Kind of good there back in the day. But Fran McCaffrey seemed to, like you say, really max out what Iowa basketball could be the last 2 years. A little down, but man, he had some really good teams and some really good runs. I don't know if Iowa basketball can be any better than where Fran McCaffrey had them. So that's a kind of a shocking thing to me.
I agree with you, but then you think about it's all about perspective, isn't it, Bake? So I would not have had this. Chops would have had this. With his love of Iowa. But I'll tell you what, he has not reached this. He did not reach a Sweet 16 once. Think about that. Not one time.
Wasn't Luka Garza twice Big Ten Player of the Year?
He's once National Player of the Year. He could have been. Yeah, very well. But, yeah, they did not win. He never won the conference. The best he ever finished in the conference was third. And he never got to a Sweet 16. And he was there 15 years.
I will say this.
Isn't that wild? I would not have had that.
I will say this, 6'10", 16.7 points, and almost 7 rebounds a game. I think that'd look good in scarlet and gray.
He's not coming here, buddy. We can't swim. We don't swim in those waters.
Last week, West Virginia head coach Rich Rodriguez clarified his team's social media policy after a report said he banned players from TikTok. He had the quote, but the quote's in
Here
audio.
it is. I got it right here.
I mean, they're going to be on it, so I'm not banning them from. I just banning them from dancing on it. It's like, look, we try to have a hard edge, whatever, and you're in there, in your tights, dancing on TikTok. Ain't quite the image of our program that I want. But I told the team today, I said, everything today is about trying to make everybody individual. It's all about the individual. It's all about the individual. And I said, football is one of the last things that was got to be more about the team than the individual. And so I banned dancing on TikTok. I guess I did that. But anything that doesn't look like our program should look, I think it's just like, come on. Really? I mean, and I'm allowed to do that, I guess. I can have rules. Now, when they, like I said, 20 years from now, they want to be sitting in their pajamas in the basement, eating Cheetos and watching TikTok or whatever the hell, they can go at it. Smoking cannabis, whatever. I mean, knock yourself out. But, the hope our focus can be on winning football games. How about let's win the football game and not worry about winning the TikTok.
Thing or not a thing.
What a picture he painted. In your basement, eating Cheetos, smoking cannabis. That was that's the thing he laid out there. I'm going to say not a thing from this perspective of, I think some of this stuff is kind of trivial. And having a child who is 13 and seeing how much they chase screens, I don't know if we can ever stop it. I mean, you can take phones, but as soon as they seek the phones, they seek the screens. It's all, just like all of us do. So I think it's just kind of part of it. I don't have a problem with him saying don't dance on TikTok. Like, you're representing the university. We're compensating you. There are rules. I understand that. So that part I get. I just think it's crazy he's back there, too. It's like a reminder that Rich Rodriguez is the coach at West Virginia again.
I think this is a thing because sometimes reunions work. This one, I think, has a chance to end in disaster for West Virginia.
They're not in a great spot anyway, right? So I think that's the other part of it is, what does that look like? We'll see. But it's pretty wild to think that he's back there. All right, final hour of the program on a Monday. Up next, Buckeyes wrapping up first day of spring football. Some thoughts on that. We hope to have Ryan Day's presser. I should tell you that it looks like that's being pushed back a little bit, so we don't anticipate that happening coming up next. But we have some images that are leaking in from spring practice. We will go over some of the big picture stuff there. All sorts of developments on the basketball side of things as well. Final hour on a Monday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Finding the right employee for your company is tough. One wrong hire can be a major setback. You're not alone if you face this. A recent survey by Robert Half shows nearly half of hiring managers readily admit to making a bad hire. Luckily, there's a solution. With Robert Half's specialized recruiter's experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can have the right skilled professional in place quickly. We understand what it takes to build winning teams because at Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Skyline is celebrating St. Paddy's Day for 2 days this year. Come enjoy your favorite 3, 4, or 5 wave with green noodles, March 16th and 17th only. The only place to get your green waves is at participating Skyline locations.
Guys, it's D. Miller. Let's talk about feeling your best. If you don't feel the same energy, strength, maybe feeling moody, or it seems you lost your drive with your partner, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, and you'll find true experts at Low T Center. Getting tested is fast and easy. Don't settle for a standard doses TRT program. I learned about the personalized therapy at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could dump all your problems on someone else's back? Well, when you wake up to a clogged drain or a plumbing issue, make that Mr. Rooter's problem.
Call 855-MISTERS today or MrRooter.com.
Call Mr. Rooter. He'll be there quick.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
When you're on the go, every minute of the day counts. Meijer Home Delivery and Pickup helps you make the most of every second. Get all your weekly shopping online, quickly and easily, from wherever you are, whenever you want. Then have your Meijer order delivered to your home, or swing by and pick it up when you're out and about. Whatever works best for your schedule. The good life is in reach with Meijer Home Delivery and Pickup.
Basketball from noon to midnight. Scotty Vegas here, and we're throwing a Vegas-style basketball party at Hollywood Casino at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. I even went out to Vegas to scout out how to throw this party. Tough assignment. The Fan is doing 24 hours of watch parties. The opening weekend of the tournament, there'll be custom T-shirts, Pop-A-Shot, horse games. Oh, and don't miss a game with a 50-foot video wall. Reserve your spot at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Ohio State men's basketball team declined an offer to participate in the inaugural college basketball crown. Buckeyes will not play in any postseason tournament. This comes after Ohio State was one of the first four out of the NCAA tournament. The big dance starts tomorrow in Dayton with two of the first four play-in games. Hear more from Ohio State hoops today at noon on the Jake Diebler Show. The Ohio State women's squad is dancing. Buckeyes will host tournament play starting Friday with a first-round matchup against Montana State. That'll be a 5:30 tip from the shot. Winner gets Tennessee or South Florida in the second round. And spring football has begun for Ohio State. We'll hear from Ryan Day sometime this morning. The Buckeyes annual spring showcase will be Saturday, April 12th at Ohio Stadium. This update sponsored by Germain Toyota of Columbus, the best selection of new and used cars in Central Ohio. View their full selection of vehicles online at germaintoyota.net. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
When General Sherman marched through Georgia, he was listening to this show.
Use your skills for good, young warrior.
This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Buckeyes hit the practice field this morning, the first practice of spring football. All eyes on the quarterbacks, all eyes on new coordinators, Brian Hartline, Matt Patricia. Adam King, Channel 10, did a great job putting up some of the videos. You see Patricia chatting with C.J. Hicks, chatting with Sonny Styles as well. You see the quarterbacks kind of slinging it around. If you get on the social, you can see a lot of those things. This is day one, right? So you don't want to read too much into anything. But, again, this is what we do. We read too much into all sorts of things. Julian looked great slinging it. All of them did. Lincoln Keenholz slinging it as well, and then Tavian St. Clair. Now, we anticipate Ryan will take to the podium here momentarily. I think that's kind of the reporting that we're getting, that Ryan will hit the podium here momentarily. When he does, we will take you there live for those comments as the national champion Buckeyes begin building towards the 2025 season now. This will be a different spring than what we are accustomed to, in large part because they just played a football game less than 2 months ago. And so you have to be really smart with guys who faced a lot of battles, a 16-game season. You think about how many downs Sonny Styles played, how many downs Igbinosun played, how many downs Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. It was a grueling run for this group, and you have to be really smart to make sure that they are fresh and healthy, because what really matters is next year. That's where you're at. So you want to build up these young guys who need to ascend. At the same time, you've got to get the quarterback thing figured out. You got to make sure you're good enough at running back to be. To me, they got to add another guy in that room, like a dude in that running back room. I think we saw the benefit of having 2 NFL running backs. You're not going to have that again, but you need to have, I think, another sure thing in that room, in the running back room. So I think that's something to watch for when the second portal opens. But those are some of the things that have to get done here over the next couple of weeks as you start to round out and figure out what you have. You need these young guys to really ascend, not just on the field, but in leadership roles as well.
Why add a portal back when you can have Caleb Downs be your running back? This is going to be a different spring. This is going to be a different fall camp. Next spring's going to be different. Next fall camp's going to be different. Like, we're going to do this, I think, 12 teams into 2025, the 2026 college football playoff, and then in 2027, everything gets changed. Or the 2027 national championship game for the 2026 season. This is going to be, all right, we're going to try to, for this coaching staff that's going to be implementing a lot of new faces, try to figure out what worked last year, what didn't work last year, and then when they try to implement that this year, it's going to be like, well, let's hope this works, because we're all kind of flying by the seat of our pants. Like we mentioned, the teams that are going to be, we think in March, contending for a national championship next January, they're all doing the same dance. Because even Penn State, with the faces that are coming back for their offense, the faces that are coming back for their defense, the faces that are going to be leading that defense is brand new. So it's, boy, a lot to ask in a short period of time, because you got 14, 15 practices over 27 days.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that we're here, right?
It is, yeah.
That just under, it hasn't even been 2 months since winning a national championship, and now you're already back on the field for spring ball. And there's a lot of questions, right? Like, we know there's talent on this roster, but you're replacing 8 starters on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And the most important position on the offensive side of the ball. We believe in the talent, but we just haven't seen it. And brand new tackles on the offensive line. Now, I know you brought guys in out of the portal, but those are still, they played at places that weren't Ohio State. You just never know.
No, and you need to, the other thing is I think the thing that is so different from how the sport used to be is this is about seeing what you need in the portal so you can go shopping. Like, are we good enough in these spots? So it's almost like and I'm sure that this is exactly what they're telling that team, every single practice is a tryout. It's a tryout to, not that you're going to be removed from the roster, although I suppose that could happen too, but it's a tryout to see, do we need to amplify this room? Is this room good enough? I think about running back. I think about tackle on the offensive front. You think about the defensive line. Is the room good enough to contend at the highest level? Those are the things that need to be sorted out, because unlike in the old days, this is your roster. That's not the case. There is free transfer. The portal is opening in the middle of April, and you're going to be able to go shopping. You're going to have free agency. You can go to look at other rosters and say, boy, I really like this tackle at Alabama. I love that second back they got down at Georgia. We'd love to have him up here. And you put together a package and you bring him up. It's crazy just saying that out loud, but that's what's going to happen here next month.
I saw from 11 Warriors earlier that Nate Ebner is going to be joining Ohio State's coaching staff as a special teams quality control coach.
His story is unbelievable. His story is unbelievable. Ebner's story.
A lot of former Patriot Way guys.
Well, he was, you got that. He was, certainly would know Patricia very well from his time in New England. He was one of the best rugby players in the country out of high school, and then became this. I want to say there was, Beck, you might have a better handle on this than me, but I thought there was incredible tragedy. Wasn't his dad murdered? Ebner's dad?
I'm not sure about that. I do know about the lacrosse, but I don't know about that.
Do I have that right, Reese?
Yeah, so it looks like in 2008, his father was murdered.
Yeah. So there was, that's the way I remember that as well. So, So that's another one. And then the familiarity with Patricia, that's huge. And he was one of the best special teams players. When he was with the Patriots, one of the best special teams players in the league was Ebner. I remember when he would come back and like bring his Super Bowl ring and like show it off to the kids in Hilliard. Like that, how cool that was that he would do it. That's man's man and all of those things, certainly. 3-time Super Bowl champion, second team All-Pro in 2016 on the special team side.
If anyone can fix the special teams at Ohio State, I think it's that guy.
Yeah, he's well versed to be able to do it. Some new decorations at the Woody Hayes as well. They've done a good job. That facility is really outdated. Everybody knows it. They probably need to start over. But they have done a good job of modernize it. They put the new banner up for the national championship in 2024. And there's some new video boards and stuff. So it looks good in there, making it as good as possible. But I think we're all kind of waiting on the day when they say, yeah, we're going to need a new one of these, and it's probably coming sooner rather than later. So Ryan Day will hit the podium. When he does, you will hear it here on the program. Not yet. Looks like they were running a little bit behind up there today. It looks like it could be. I do see Ohio State tweeting it out as well, so it looks like it could be coming relatively soon. But that's where you stand. It's interesting to see. You get excited when you see guys like Julian saying out there throwing it to Jeremiah Smith. I said this earlier in the show. When those guys didn't leave, that tells you that they believe in who's going to be throwing them the ball. Because they could have taken more money to play elsewhere. Like if they didn't think Ohio State was locked in at quarterback, they could have bounced. So the proof to me was always in that if they stayed, if Jeremiah Smith stays, Carnell Tate stays, that means they believe in that room. And Julian looks good slinging it. All of them do. It's cool seeing Taven's big kid. Cool seeing him out there throwing it around a little bit too. Lincoln looks the part, so we'll see how those quarterbacks go. I tell you what we're going to do. Let's take a quick timeout, and that way we can try to time up Ryan when he hits the podium. We will try to do that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Now at participating locations, it's UDF's new Sicilian-style pizza. We serve it on our family recipe focaccia crust, handcrafted in our bakery. And right now, get any size Coca-Cola fountain drink free with your purchase. Pizza from United Dairy Farmers, made for you.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or the 3 restaurant locations in Gahanna, Grandview, or Westerville. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay minus 108 than minus 110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is Ohio's full-time reduced juice sports book. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's March, and you know what that means. Bracket season. You've crunched the numbers, picked your favorites, and maybe even taken a big gamble on that Cinderella team. But when it comes to your home, gambling is not an option. Spring storms are rolling in, bringing strong winds, heavy rain, and unpredictable weather. The question is your roof ready? At Newman Roofing, we don't leave anything up to chance. Whether you need a new roof, gutter replacement, or updated siding, our expert team is here to educate you, guide you, and give you the best options to fit your home's needs. No high-pressure sales, no surprises, just top-quality work from a team you can trust. That's why homeowners choose Newman Roofing, the #1 overall seed here in Columbus, because we deliver an unbeatable customer experience every single time. So, don't wait until the damage is done. Beat the storm before it ruins your big dance. Call 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit online at newmanroofing.com to schedule your spot this spring. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious. That's you stepping up to the plate. That's you winning your kickball game.
Yes, let's go!
That's you taking another sip of your Do the Dew.
College
Common Man here for Weed Man. I always have the greenest lawn in the neighborhood. It's luscious. I swear by two things, water and Weed Man. Weed Man is locally owned and operated by Corbin and Audrey. They will make sure your lawn is weed-free and looking gorgeous. Of course, they get rid of weeds, but they also do aeration, mosquito control, grub control, crabgrass prevention, and flea and tick control for your four-legged friends. For a free quote, give them a call, 614-733-3747, weedmanusa.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
The Jackets are back at Nationwide for a battle with the Devils. Live fan coverage starts Monday night at 6:30.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating and Cooling.
Your home for Blue Jackets hockey, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, you might not be big on technology, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Maybe you've gone through a divorce or a bad breakup or a relative moved out. It's been hard, and you just want to take what you want and leave the rest behind. I will help you. Retiring and want to sell your commercial properties or land. I will help you. Sellers, whether you're selling as is or selling for top dollar, you're no longer alone. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looking at a nice sunny day today across the Buckeye State. Temperatures will be warming up to around 49 today. Definitely on the chilly side. Clear tonight with a low around 36. Sunny and warmer tomorrow. Feeling more like spring with a high of 68. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
The Fan is live and local with Morning Juice, Caffeinate, and Dominate.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, as we await Ryan Day at the podium at the culmination of the first practice of spring football, a couple other house cleaning notes to get you here. The Buckeye basketball team has rejected an invitation to play in the college basketball crown. That also means they will not be playing in the NIT. Just two Big Ten teams did. Except it was Nebraska and USC. That's it. That's the list. And I just think that comes down to something of who can we get who actually is still on our team who wants to play basketball. And the reality is that most of these schools, there's like 8 schools who just were like, no, we're good. We're out. The Buckeyes were among them. Jake Diebler will talk about the season coming up at noon on his show, the final installment of his show. So you'll have that to look forward to, which is nice. It's a big job when you think about trying to dig out of missing the NCAA tournament 3 straight years. And there's a lot of different ways to try to build these things. You know you can build it quick. You saw that up at Michigan. You saw it with Rick Pitino at St. John's. You saw it with Kentucky with Mark Pope in terms of flipping quickly and getting engaged and getting an entirely new roster. You can do it. You have to land your portal guys, though. Those portal guys you land have got to be dudes, and that's got to be job one for Jake as he's trying to rebuild this thing next year to get back into this thing as a minimum requirement, Reese.
Yeah, I keep going back to the guys that were acquired from the transfer portal that still have eligibility. If they're asking for raises, then you can show them the door. And I think the NIL resources, they got to be better allocated, but you've also, I think, if you're not prepared, you've got to be prepared because Devin Royal and Junie Mobley are 2 players that you absolutely cannot lose. So I think if the resources go to giving Aaron Bradshaw a little bit more money or making sure Devin Royal doesn't leave for greener pastures, then Devin Royal's got to be the guy.
Do we have Ryan Day at the podium, Bake? All right, let's go to the podium. Here's Ryan Day after practice, spring practice number 1.
No, right now, we're going to roll those guys like we did last year, and today was just to get moving around our first day off of spring break, and we wanted to get going. We're going to do spring practice in 4 weeks. We do it in 5. We would typically start the week before spring break. We decided to push that back because of how late the season ended. So today we wanted to just make sure we're getting guys moving around. Didn't want to get any soft tissue or anything like that, just to start. We'll take tomorrow, and then Wednesday, we'll do more against each other, and then ramp it up again on Friday, and then from there on out, the cadence will be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, going all the way to Saturday to the spring game, and we're going to assess it and try to do as much as we can that day, even though we're calling it a showcase. We're going to try to do as much as we can during that game based on health and those type of things, because I think it's important for some of our guys to get on the field, and going back to the quarterback situation, want to see what that looks like on the field in front of the great crowd, because our first game is against Texas this year, so we got to come out of the gates running.
Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports. Ryan, as you guys kind of get things going here, you're obviously building coming off of a national championship. That changes things, I imagine, being targeted and trying to get guys motivated in the same way they were before. Just the challenges at this time of year to build back. Do you lean on people that have gone through similar runs before, or kind of how do you approach that?
Appreciate your St. Patrick's Day colors, representing the Irish. It's good. We had a meeting early on with our leadership committee, and one of the first things we had as we go through our first presentation of how we want to talk to our team during the winter program, and Mick and I, show the presentation to the leadership group and look for feedback. If they agree, if they don't agree, if they want to add things, delete things, and we have discussion. And one of the first things was reinforce the culture. And after the end of the meeting, it was we have to rebuild the culture because this team hasn't done anything. There's guys on this team that don't know the culture yet. They were fortunate enough to be with the team during the last 2 games, which was great to see. And I give a lot of credit to the seniors who last year really embraced them coming to be a part of the program. I've seen it before in years past where there's a little bit of a feeling they're not really part of our team. We've put all the work in, it's a little bit of a distraction. Our older guys felt like it was good to allow them to see what the brotherhood's all about, to pass down what it means to be a Buckeye and our culture, introduce them to that. And so I thought that was great, but the leaders of this group decided that they want to take some of the stuff down, some of the national championship things down in the facility, because they realized we didn't win a national championship. Last year's team did. And that was a good start, because that's the right mentality to have, is that we got to start this thing from scratch and build from there.
Who are they?
You could probably name them. We have a leadership committee that this year, because we have so many new names, Coach Mick and I appointed them and then allowed them to add or subtract some guys. And then after the spring's done, we'll then have the team vote on it, because I think at that point some of the new faces will know who's who on the team. And then from there, once we get into the summer, we have a really good idea who the captains are. But who the leaders are, and so you could probably name 80% of them.
Tony Gerben, Buckeye Huddle.
Right, it looked like today safeties were kind of switching back and forth between boundary and field. Is that a spring thing, or is that something you guys want to do this year?
We're going to look at it and see what makes the most sense. With the nickel position, the adjuster and the bandit, that was sort of, how we identified it last year with Jordan and Lathan and Caleb. Well, now it's going to be a little bit different. So, we want to put those guys in position to be as successful as we possibly can. As you noticed later in the season, Caleb found himself playing a little bit more down where the nickel used to be, and Jordan was playing a little bit, more safety position. So it was good to have some ability to change, the job descriptions and have versatility. And so we'll do the same, but this year, a little bit different bodies in there. So, we want to have the flexibility to adjust. And then just like on offense, it's the same thing on defense. We want to put our players in a position to be successful. And I thought one of the best things we did in the second half of the season was do that. In particular with Caleb, we put him more towards the action, and he had more of an impact on the game. So we need to do that on defense this year based on who we have. And so we're going to look at, field boundary, strong, weak, left, right, all the above.
Do you think there's a scenario where he's more boundary this year than he was last year even?
I don't know about that. I guess there could be a situation for sure, but as you guys can imagine, we want him involved in as many places as we can, so we're going to get him there. And I guess if there's some boundary stuff, I guess, but to me, he's going to be more involved with some of the other stuff, I would think.
Dan Hope,
Young Warriors. Ryan, you guys had Nate Ebner out there. Curious, how did that come together, and what kind of value does he bring?
Well, he brings credibility, first off. This is a guy who was really self-made, as you know, and turned out to have a great career in the NFL and was a big part of special teams. So, he can have an impact on the safety room. He can have an impact on special teams, and somebody that's now trying to make the transition from being a player to coach. So great to have him around.
When you have as many former Buckeyes, guys who played in the NFL as you do here, just what kind of benefit does that give to this team?
Well, I think it just, again, builds culture. Guys understand what it means. There's experience, especially guys who have walked in those shoes before, who have gone through the process of playing at Ohio State. This is unlike any other place. So, they've won games, they've lost games, they've grown. They get to tell their story of when they were in those same shoes, and I think it makes a big difference. Take a guy like Nate or James or Hart. They also have their experience of playing in the NFL and making that transition. So there's just a lot of credibility when those guys speak. But you always want to make sure you surround yourself with guys that love being Buckeyes, that love being around Ohio State. And to me, that's what's really important.
Cameron T. Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, you mentioned the freshman being here for that playoff run. Is it too early to see maybe some of the experience and practice they got there show up now, or do you feel like you need to see that through the spring? Like, can you see a difference and then getting a little bit of time?
I think we'll probably be able to tell that once we get going on Wednesday and Friday, just on how quickly they're able to get on the field, and does it look like it's the first time they've ever heard some of the calls before, or do you not notice them early on? And it's usually pretty good when you don't notice a young guy. I don't know that until we actually get on the field, but I know in terms of the expectation of 4 to 6, A to B plus 2, the preparation, how we handle ourselves in meetings, I think all of those things were really good for those guys to see. How that translates right now to practice, the first week of practice in the spring is yet to be seen. They're still young, they're still trying to figure it out, but I know for sure, once we get going in August, they're going to be much further along than most, because they did have those couple weeks, and now they're jumping into it in spring here at mid-year.
Spencer Holbrook, Letter Grove.
Right, we saw Austin Centerville taking some reps at tackle. Is that something that you guys have talked to him about and moved him over to tackle, or is it just something kind of experience?
Well, I think now that we're going to a roster of 105, it looks like that's where we're headed. Then we have to have versatility, and guys have to be able to play multiple positions. You saw that happen with Donovan. You saw it happen with Carson this year. You've seen it happen with a lot of our guys, and so we want to be able to teach guys in dual roles this year. I think it's important, and not just on the offensive line. If you're a tight end, you need to be able to play receiver. So maybe a tight end can learn protection and line up in the backfield. A receiver like Brandon Innes can line up in the backfield and take a handoff. You think about Xavier Johnson, you think about the run we've made late in the season, guys have had to move and play multiple positions. I think you find that sometimes in the NFL. The difference here is that we're not going to be able to sign people off of waivers. At 105, that's tough, because when you look at the NFL, people are going to say, well, they have a 56-man roster, but the truth is when they bring guys in and send guys onto waivers, most teams are in the north of 115, 120 of guys in the building and out of the building. Well, if you only have 105 guys to work with, and some of those guys are young freshmen, then you have to have versatility in all those positions. So that's an example of a position that we're making sure guys play multiple positions. And we've seen Austin play guard. We want him to play some tackle. We want Luke to play guard. We want him to play some center. We want Tegra to be able to move around. It'll give us more versatility, especially late in the season. Yes, but I don't have that with me right now. I'll get it to you next time we get together. Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 guys that aren't. Yeah.
Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, you've said it before many times. This is a place where expectations are high. You win it all, you're expected to win it again, right? But this is a kind of unique for you in that, what do you do now after you've won it? And you kind of spoke to it when you answered Pat's question. But in the leadership role, what are you doing differently? Are you a little tougher on them? Do you have a leadership book you guys are reading? I mean, what's different?
Actually, yeah, we are going to do that. The guys don't know that yet, so I'm not going to get into it. But I do actually have a book that I've picked out that I think is good. And I'm not going to, until I hand it to the guys, I won't say it, but it'll be probably over the next couple of weeks. It's funny you say that because we haven't really done that before, but I think it's important, and I think it's a good project for our guys. But the guys have to step up, and I think that's one of the things that I know you've heard me talk about it a lot. But what we do in our off season and what Mick does, in the weight room, it's our backbone because he's constantly placing guys in situations to be leaders. And in order to be a leader, it's one thing to do your job. You have to bring people with you. And how do you bring people with you? You build trust, and then you inspire and motivate them to bring with you. But your voice has to be heard. And so where do you do that? You got to get on the field. You got to, Coach Mick's got to do it in the weight room where, you get up in front of all these men and you speak and you motivate them. And the first few times it's a little clunky, just like being a coach. You get in front of a group of people. But the more you do it, the more you have courage to get up in front of your teammates and your peers and drive them, then that's what leadership's about. And so we know how important leadership is, and these guys have embraced that. They saw it. And I think that's, whether it's the quarterbacks or, on defense, there were so many great examples last year of what really good leadership is. So they know what it looks like. Now some of these guys have to step out of their comfort zone and take on that new role. And the day of the celebration here on that Sunday, we had our last team meeting, which is something we typically don't get a chance to do. And we had our champions meeting, which is something, again, in the last game you typically don't have a chance to do. So we celebrated the champions. And then everybody who sits in here, as you guys know, the young guys are down here. The older guys are down here, younger guys are in the back. I had all the guys who were leaving next year stand up here, and everybody had to move down into a different seat. And it was a little bit of a, kind of like a ceremony. Like, you're now going from being a junior to being a senior that we're counting on to be a leader. You're now going from being a freshman to a guy who has to step up as a sophomore and get on the field. Or now your role has physically changed in the room by moving down in the team room. And I thought that was important. And I shared with them that this was the standard. This is what it's supposed to look like. These guys right here, what they went through along their career, how many of them stuck with the program and showed leadership. And when do you show leadership in defining moments when it's the hardest? So those are all the conversations we've had up to this point, and we got to go do it with this new group. We're trying not to talk about last year's group, but it is good to have that example moving forward of what it's supposed to look like.
Just curious, real quick, did you talk to anyone else, whether it's Urban or Jim Tressel or anything, of how to follow up a title, or you plan on doing that, or how have you sort of thought about how to do this?
Yeah, just I have a chance to speak to a lot of different coaches, which is great, and it's it's a blessing. So many different people reach out, after you win something, and you get a chance to share ideas and thoughts. And but at the end of the day, to me, it's the process. You have to trust your process and trust your culture. And really, to me, what the last that last run just solidified, I think, for everybody in the building, is just like the culture works, the system works, how we do it, our process works. It just gave credibility to everything we're doing. And, truth be told, when you're a first-time head coach and you haven't done it before and you become the head coach at Ohio State, you typically don't get the benefit of the doubt until you win it all, because, you haven't really done it yet. It's like anything else. And so now we have the testimony moving forward. And I think for our guys, that's the most powerful thing we can do.
Austin Ward, podcast.
Ryan, what makes C.J. Hicks a good fit in that defensive line group?
Well, I think the first thing is, his quickness off the edge. He's got a great first step. He's powerful for somebody maybe who isn't as big or strong as maybe some of the defensive ends we've had. He can really get skinny around the edge and reduce the surface area. Has a good knack for rushing the passer, and so we messed around a little bit with it last year, but now we're going to it more full time.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
No one was expecting you to come in here and have a starting quarterback today, obviously, but you typically been on the timeline for when those quarterbacks have been named. Maybe some of that is when you feel comfortable doing it versus when they actually go out there and win the job and do all the stuff you're talking about here. Does that competition have to be close? Does it have to always go in the fall camp? Or is there ever a scenario where you could get to the end of spring and realistically feel like you have your guy and you publicly name him?
Yeah, I do. I think so. I can't tell you that I've felt that since I've been here. I think there's been leaders in the clubhouse, and we've told guys that, when it was between Dwayne and Joe, it was close, but Dwayne did have the upper hand, and we let both of those guys know that. And I think we're pretty transparent when it comes to it, but there's also, a lot of football to be played in August. And so, I think back on where guys are at in the spring and then where they come, and even think about where Will was at this time last year and where he got to by the end of the season, or even where he got to by August. That was a huge jump. So we try not to make hasty decisions. We try to make sure we're thorough, but if somebody's that much further ahead, then someone's that much further ahead.
What is the difference between, essentially, like you said, you've had leaders in the clubhouse before, but not to the point of they got to the finish line. What is that difference that you see from the guy being leader at the end of the spring, quote unquote, versus you stamp him with that approval in fall camp? What is that jump they usually have to do?
Well, I think in spring you have 15 practices, and a good portion of the 15 practices are guys learning and growing, and the number one job for each individual player is to get better individually, and then we start to come together as a team. And so, we will have some team opportunities in the spring, but a lot of it is individually getting better. It's 7-on-7, it's teamwork, it's more segmented. Teamwork is usually a blitz period, a second and long, a third down, a red zone, things like that, and we're learning and we're teaching. Once we get into the summer, it's a little bit more move it. It's a little bit more situational. You start to feel a little bit more what it's going to look like in the game. You still don't know what an impact someone's going to have with their feet as a quarterback. It's the same thing at running back. It's hard to judge, especially coming out of the spring. So I just think, first off, there's more practices in the preseason, and secondly, it's a little bit more game-like, and you're further along.
Bill Landis, Kings of the North.
Ryan, as you continue to roll the quarterbacks, as you said, what do you want their mindset to be? Is it go win the job, or is it get better? Is it some balance of those two things?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think it's easy for people on the outside, family members, friends, agents, things like that, mentors, go win the job. Well, there's so much that comes with winning the job, and as you guys know, the quarterback position, there's just so much that goes with it. So to me, it's the process of understanding how to get better and then continually working. And when you make a mistake, you learn from that mistake and you grow quickly. And a lot of it has to do with their preparation. When a guy walks into the huddle or walks into that practice, you can tell if he's prepared or not. I mean, if he's up there, and I say it all the time, the first level of understanding is what. If you don't know what to do, you have no chance of playing quarterback at Ohio State. So all that work has to be done prior to. Then you got to learn how to do it, your footwork, how the ball is supposed to come out, your technique, and then why are we doing it? Why are we calling this play? Why are we calling 4 verticals? Why are we calling a crossing route? Like all those things. And then you got to go put it on the field, and you're still going to make mistakes, and you got to keep growing from it. So it's just understanding that the process is going to be a battle, but you have to make sure when you walk in that building every day that you're prepared. You also have to throw it out there and make sure that you understand you're going to fail, but that you have to learn quickly. And if you're continually making the same mistakes over and over again, it's going to take longer to get to where you want to be and win the job. And then as we start getting closer to, like we talk about the preseason, where I got to take care of the football, I got to do really well in third down, I got to win in the red zone. And then everybody's different. Every quarterback's different. Will was a lot different than CJ. CJ was a lot different than Dwayne. Dwayne was different than Justin. Everyone's different. And so these quarterbacks are different as well. Different size, different makeup, different skill sets. So the number one job, though, for the quarterback is be the hardest working guy in the building. There shouldn't be any question. If someone says, who's the hardest working guy, it should be the quarterback. If it's somebody else, that's a problem. Because they should be the first one in the building and the last one to leave. And then they have to be tough. If it's 4th and 2 against Texas, we got to find a way to get 3 yards. That's the bottom line. And those guys understand that. They know it. Mick reinforces it in the weight room daily. But those are some of the things that we talk about at quarterback.
Ryan, I know it's super early first day of spring practice, but what were just your initial thoughts of the quarterbacks, whether it's the communication stepping up or just how they attack the day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm never happy coming out of the first day. So, and it's funny, I actually had a chance to go and visit some different schools with my son, and I didn't watch any practices. I just kind of took myself out of those situations and let my son do it. But after talking to the coaches, after day 2 or day 3, I'm like, sure you feel like you're not going to win a game, right? Is that typically how it goes the first 2 or 3 days of practice? Thank God he told me that, because I just literally walked off the field thinking we will not win a game all season. So the first few days of spring practice are always brutal when it comes to that, especially with quarterbacks, because that's what I'm always watching. But no, it wasn't that bad. It was good. It was just mostly on air today. We just wanted to get guys moving. We didn't do a lot of what we call variable work, where we're going against somebody else. It was mostly just, kind of get moving, just teach the young guys how to go, and then we'll get going on Wednesday on decision making. But they're all talented. The ball comes out of their hand well. They're all good athletes. So a lot to be determined.
Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
This time last year, we were all enamored with JJ and just how physically opposing he was. As you look at this freshman class now, are there guys that stick out to you and say, he's physically ready to play now if he can just get the offense and the defense down, those kind of things?
Yeah. I'm impressed with the way these guys have worked. I'm impressed with the way they look. There's probably not a guy in that class where I'm like physically that, they can't have an impact as a freshman. Yeah, I've been impressed, and they're coming in with that mentality too. It'd be hard for me to just point one guy out, but yeah, at all positions.
Sanchez seems like he has the frame like a prototype corner. Obviously, again, he has to get the mental part of it down. Is that a guy? I know corners kind of the long game. There's a lot of talent there. Is that a guy that maybe you can see crack with too deep?
Yeah. If guys deserve to play, we're going to play them. And you saw us even roll the offensive lineman at the end of the year because we felt like those guys deserved to play and they needed to play. It'll be the same thing there. And if that means moving guys, around, we played with like 3 safeties last year. And then how do you see Lorenzo? Is he more of a safety? Is he more of a corner? So is that more of a 3-corner look? I think that's all great conversation that's going on right now in the defensive staff room. And then it's just like on offense, if you have like 4 really good receivers, you might find yourself in, more wide receiver sets. We have more tight ends this year. So what is, so those are all the conversations, things that need to be worked out. Not right now, but it's their job to do everything they possibly can to say, hey, I need to play. And I think we got some great candidates for that.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
How jarring was it for you to walk out there and not see Jack, JT, Cody, all those guys that you've gotten so used to seeing? Was it jarring? What was it like just to not see those guys?
Yeah, it's every year that happens though. That you think about, and that's the great thing about being at Ohio State is, we get such great impact players, and once spring starts, you have to, restart and look at it differently. But it started with mat drills. We've had 2 really good mat drills, and in those mat drills, we didn't have some of those same guys out there, but that's part of the process, and it's a great opportunity for guys to step up. And now we're on to the next year now, and doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's a different group of guys, and all these guys are going to have to step up in a big way. So just getting started, but it is a transition for sure.
And
indeed it is. That was Ryan Day's press conference after day 1 of spring football at Ohio State as they attempt to win back-to-back national champions. Last team to do it. Don't have to go back very far. Georgia did it in 21 and 22. That is what the Buckeyes are chasing. I thought the line that to me summed up the presser, sums up kind of the feeling that I've had about Coach Day since he won it. He had a line where he said, you don't get the benefit of the doubt here until you win it all. And that, to me, resonated. Resonates in the way that he's gone about this offseason. It resonated in the way that he went with the coordinator hires. It resonates in just the way he's going about his business in that press conference. He has earned the benefit of the doubt. And around here, to earn that, you've just got to win a national championship. Welcome to Ohio State football. 3 things on a Monday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic.
This Ohio State football spring practice report is brought to you locally on The Fan by Roosters and by your Ohio Kubota dealers.
Ohio State football spring practice report.
Coming off last year's national championship, Ohio State head coach Ryan Day went into this spring asked about the number of practices and the scholarship limit for Ohio State with players available. Here's the Buckeye head coach.
Yeah, 15 opportunities, and in the past, those were all padded practices, very physical. That will not be the case for sure this spring. We will use some helmeted practices, almost like OTA styles. There'll be more teaching opportunities to be smart there. Another thing is, as we look ahead, at the 105 on the roster. That's a lot different than when you're at 120 plus. So, I mean, the health of the team is going to be even more important.
Indeed, spring practice has begun for the defending national champions. This report was brought to you by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and by Weber Grills. I'm Matt Andrews on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Imagine a tailgate. The heat of the flame, the sizzle of the burger, the squeeze of the ketchup. Grilling is essential to tailgating as the game itself. Weber Grills are there in the hours, minutes, and even seconds before kickoff. Before the best damn band in the land plays the battle cry, signaling it's time to take the field. Weber is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. This season, Weber created an officially licensed limited edition Ohio State grill inspired by the iconic Buckeye helmets. Find the best damn grill in the land at local Ohio retailers.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Cover more ground with the fast, durable Kubota Sidekick, featuring a gas-powered engine that delivers a top speed of 40 miles per hour, best-in-class acceleration and handling with cargo, and the strength to haul what needs hauling, all backed by a 2-year, 1,000-hour warranty. Get more done right with the Kubota Sidekick. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single, seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone, any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Hey guys, it's Anthony Rothman. Let's talk about feeling your best. If you don't feel that same energy, strength, maybe you're feeling moody or it seems you've lost your drive with your partner, it could be low testosterone. You have to go see the true experts at Low T Center. Getting tested is fast and easy. I learned all about the personalized therapy at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. So don't put it off any longer. Go to lowtcenter.com and book that appointment. lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
A couple other things I took note of. from that press conference from Ryan Day, and we'll get into some of this at greater detail tomorrow, but they appointed leaders this year, and then that'll kind of sort itself out. I'm sure it's the guys that you know, and Ryan said this as well in terms of 2 and 6 and 4 and those type of guys. The other thing that I think you notice, and you'd have to really be paying attention to understand the difference here, but he talked about a roster of 105. So I know you think to yourself, well, wait a second, the scholarships were 85 in the old days. This seems like 20 more. It's not 105 scholarships. It's 105 on the roster. So in the old days, you could have 120, sometimes 125, 130 on a roster, but normally it's around 120. Now they're at 105 on the roster. So the scholarship number remains the same, but the total on the roster shrunk from in the 120s to down to 105. So that I took note of as well. And then I think the overwhelming thing was that line when he said, you don't get the benefit of the doubt around here until you win it all. Like, that really resonated with me. And I think he is walking around like a guy who gets an incredible benefit of the doubt going forward. So
he's just like us, right? Ryan Day, talking about he's never happy coming out of the first day.
Yeah.
Like, I really resonated with I just walked off the field thinking, well, we won't win a game all season. Same, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Bake, you got some line updates from the Jackets as well that happened while we were listening to Coach?
Yeah, this was from Porty and Jackets insider Jeff Svoboda. A shakeup on the top 2 lines tonight. Boone Jenner will be playing with Adam Fantilli and Kent Johnson. The Russian trio back together for the first time this year. Chinnikov, Voronkov, and Marchenko as well. So let's see if that'll get that Russian quartet, especially Chinnikov, going a little bit.
All right, there you go. What do we have in the poll today, Reese?
The Daily Fan Poll is sponsored by Caster Connection, and it asks, looking at your NCAA men's tournament bracket, how many of the 4 number 1 seeds, Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Florida, do you have reaching the Final Four? 59% of you say 2 of those 4 will make it to the Final Four. 21% say 3, 16% say 0 or 1. Just 2% say all 4 will be going to San Antonio.
Without looking, could you name the 4 ones?
Yes. Do you want me to do that? It says it in the Daily Fan Poll. I'm reading it. I cheated.
Otherwise,
I'd have made this the least fun thing of all time.
Is it Duke? Is it
parenthetical
Duke, Florida?
in there?
Duke, Florida, Auburn. Who's the 4th?
Kelvin Sampson.
Houston. Okay. All right. There you go. There you have it. All right. Time for 3 things on a Monday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
All right. Number 1 for me. We had our first. It was like a lacrosse scrimmage. We played a neighboring team, and so it was all day long. So Bootsy started at like 11, and then NBC played a game yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And it's good to be here. Love LAC season. It's awesome. This is the one I don't coach, so I am just an observer on this one. But it's also a reminder of what happens in spring sports in Ohio. When the day starts, it's like 62. Then there's lightning. Then it gets into like the high 40s, and it's everything in between. Rain, all of it. Like spring sports in Ohio, you got to bring your guts with you to try to get through it, because just getting games in is absolutely brutal, and you can face all sorts of temperatures in the course of a singular day. Bootsy netted a couple of goals in his first game playing on the big field, so that was fun to see as well. So off and running in spring sports.
I've got my first thing from 11 Warriors. So Garfield Heights lost in the state semifinals over the weekend, and then they caught up with Marcus Johnson, the 2026 4-star point guard and Ohio State commitment, who said he'd just gotten off the phone with Jake Diebler. So this would have been Sunday. Mm-hmm. And so obviously when you lose to Iowa for Jake Diebler, who we will hear from in a couple minutes, the process goes to, I'm keeping the guys that I've got recruited. I'm trying to build rosters for the future. But also Marcus is making a decision whether or not he will reclassify for the 2025 class. Something to look out for.
I understand why Buckeye fan would want that. I just don't like it from a kid perspective.
Agreed.
I mean, Michi did that. I just think you have to be like a Cooper Flagg type to handle that. Like, it's so hard, I think, to handle that going from high school to college.
Speaking of high school hoops, it was a hell of a weekend for Columbus High School hoops. First of all, Pickerington Central wins their 8th ever girls state championship. That's second all-time, or ties them for second all-time in the state of Ohio. Then we had 4 boys teams advancing to the state championships next week. In Division 5, Columbus Academy will play Lutheran East Saturday morning at 10:45. Friday night at 7:30 in the D2 game, Westerville North takes on Massillon Perry. Then how about this? Reynoldsburg versus Olentangy Orange, Division I state championship game Saturday at 8:30. This is from Dave Papura over at the Columbus Dispatch. The closest he's gotten to 2 Columbus teams playing for a basketball boys state championship. 1963, Columbus East took on Marion Harding, and that's Central Ohio, obviously, in the AA championship. I've gone back here and looked through the 30s. I've never seen 2 Columbus teams play for the state championship ever, and back then you just had like A and B. So I'm guessing this has never happened before.
Well, I took note of that. I mentioned that earlier in the show. Like, to see 2 public school Central Ohio teams playing for a state title. Obviously, I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. So you take it a step further, going all the way back to then. A lot of people say that those Columbus, I'm pretty sure those are the teams, those Columbus East teams were maybe the best teams ever in Central Ohio history. So, yeah, that's heavy stuff, to say the least.
In 2018, we had Afrocentric and Harvest Prep play in a semifinal, but nothing like this in the finals.
And 2 public schools. I mean, that's
impressive.
Wild. Really cool. Number 2 for me, I'm to the point where I think I used to say the only things that you cannot DVR are sports you care about and Game of Thrones. I think you can put the White Lotus show on that. That episode last night was amazing. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time. I don't know how he has taken like ritzy resorts and a bunch of spoiled people and made you pay attention to it that closely, but he did. The scene with Goggins at the hotel was unreal. Absolutely unreal. Great job. That shows it's throwing a lot of gas right now.
I'm excited to watch that thing tonight. Just a quick reminder, you have until Thursday at noon to get your brackets uploaded in the Fan and 10 TV's Bracket Challenge. I'm going for an all-bad boy Final Four. Bruce Pearl in Auburn, Rick Pitino, St. John's, Nate Oates in Alabama, Will Wade, and McNeese.
Oh, that'd be great.
That music means the Jake Diebler Show is up next. It is the final time this year you'll get to hear from the coach in the Jake Diebler Show, so make sure you stay tuned for that.
Yeah, going to be interesting. Maybe get some insight on why they turned down the basketball crown in postseason play and what that roster looks like and how he's going to shape it going forward. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. The Rothman and Ice will follow that. We are back tomorrow. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is simple and effective. At the end of the day, it's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Skyline is celebrating St. Patty's Day for 2 days this year. Come enjoy your favorite 3, 4, or 5-way with green noodles, March 16th and 17th only. The only place to get your green ways is at participating Skyline locations.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-324-VEIN. That's 614-324-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
Spring forward, Columbus, with the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling Services. We're here to thaw you out with this limited time offer. Get up to $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer is too good to pass up. The Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling now together to serve you better with $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer won't last. Call us today, 614-232-2222. That's 614-232-2222.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Feeling lucky? Wear some green into the lodge on March 17th, and your Twin Peaks girl will bring you a free order of fried pickles. It's St. Patty's Day, and we know how you like to party. Valid at participating locations only with a qualifying purchase. Get with your favorite lodge for more details.
Hey, Ohio State fans. While others cut corners, like that team up north, Valvoline Instant Oil Change is Buckeye-level quality. We train hard and treat every day like game day. We're always quick, but never rushed. And you can stay in your car while our experts do the work. Valvoline Instant Oil Change is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Visit valvoline.com/Buckeyes to find your nearest location and access exclusive fan savings.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.